My Taropist is now in session. Hey, everybody. Right when I went on, the dog started barking. Okay, doggy, we hear you. How are you all? Okay, just getting a little bit situated, adjusted. I am so happy that you all are here. Everyone who's joining the live stream. Thank you. Hi, Marita. Hi, Tonya. Hi, Jano Jason. Hello to Aries Man Steva. Hey, you guys. Hey, Lisa. Hey, 22 Steps. Yes, LA Strong. Let me get, actually, thanks for that. Let me get the giveaway going. I'm going to set up the giveaway tools right now. Some of them I couldn't set up until I think I went live. So let me get that going. If you guys don't mind, check the description of this video. It will give you all of the details and information on what we're doing today. This is a little bit different because we are not doing a, we're doing a collective reading. I'm going to do a collective in just a sec. But I'm bringing on a special guest today. Her name is Krista Hovespian, and she is an incredible woman. You guys are going to learn so much about her. If you haven't looked at her website and her bio on the website, please do. All of the good stuff that she's involved with. She's a multidisciplinary artist. She is an intuitive creative healer. She's shaman. She's I think a holistic nutritionist. She does so many things, you guys. She wears so many hats. She's an incredible person. She has lived an incredible life, has a beautiful story to share. And she also is somebody who has experienced many series of traumas in her life and has overcome in incredible, miraculous, and beautiful ways. So I'm so grateful to have her come on in a little bit after we do the reading. Let me see. Okay. If you guys have not hashtagged LA Strong, you can start now because I just got that in, and it's hashtag LA Strong to enter the giveaways. And we will do giveaways if once we hit particular goals on this live, which I am now about to set up. It's my first time setting goals. I know, Tonya, you've done it. I've never done it before. And if I can't do it, through the YouTubes, which that's cuckoo bananas, Tonya, did they take away the capability? Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so our goal for each, we're doing 5 giveaways if we hit each goal. So I've made it pretty easy. You guys can also make donations via PayPal, via Cash App. Thank you, Jennifer. I saw you already have donated via Venmo. That's also cool. The goals on Super Chats are for the giveaway. It still gets you a free mini reading if you donate $5 or more. But if we hit those super chat goals, then we will get those giveaways going. Okay. And if you haven't seen what the giveaways are, Okay, so the first one is a one yes or no mini rod session with Tonya, or rods, sorry, and mini session with Tonya. Or mini reading, I should say, right, Tonya? Okay. And so that's 5 super chats at, I think it's like, I have mine set on euros because here I am in the EU at this moment. No. Okay. There we go. I think it's going now. Okay, it's going now. It's going now. All right. Couldn't do that until I was on, you guys. So we got it. So that's the first one. And then we're giving away all kinds of things at each one we hit. There's a custom reading with me. If we hit the goal number 5, there's a mini written session with Krista, who's coming on later. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. We also have, Mukti from my cousin Mukti Bird, who hopefully will be able to pop in and join us later as well. She is currently living in Portugal, but also, like myself, is a California native. You get a t-shirt from her if we hit one of the goals. So there's all kinds of fun stuff that we're giving away. But she was wanting to come on and share from her heart some of her reflections on Los Angeles, because like myself, even when we haven't lived in LA, which I did for about 11 years, but even when we haven't, it's like just a sacred place to us and so many beautiful memories. I don't want to take too long like with the intros, but please read the description. I have Siva and Tonya in there who are modding. Oh, Tonya, I can give you a wrench. Good Lord, y'all. So we're going to kind of like be easy on ourselves today. There's been a lot going on. And honestly, this is this is all happening so quickly. And it feels a bit overwhelming. Like, oops. Okay. It feels overwhelming, to be honest. I've spent the last several days just trying to there you go, Tonya. You have a wrench now. Sorry about that, boo. I spent the last several days just like trying to connect with family and friends who are still in Los Angeles, former colleagues, like all kinds of folks, and just make sure everyone's safe and okay. My mother and my uncle had evacuated early because one of the fires, there's 6 fires going on. So let me see if I can actually share my screen just so you guys know what's going on right now. The latest update anyway on the statistics in terms of the fires. Okay. So this was as of about an hour or so ago. So here's where we're at right now. The Kenneth fire, which is the one that was closest to my mom and my uncle and some of my family members, is 100% contained, thankfully. The Sunset fire is 100% contained, also, thank God. Lydia fire, also 100% contained, thankfully. Hearst fire, 89% containment. The two most destructive, especially in terms of acreage, the Eaton and the Palisades fire are 27% for contained for the Eaton fire and 11% for the Palisades fire. It's not just covering Pacific Palisades, that fire stretched beyond there. But so those are still, there's still a lot of work to be done. This is from Secret Los Angeles, which is one of the Instagram accounts I highly recommend if you want to know more about Los Angeles, particularly a lot of what's not shared in the media, and want up-to-date stats on things that are going on, and also ways that you can support through volunteerism, donations if you are someone who is in need. They also are offering a lot of resources with that in that respect as well. So there's that. So we'll go back to that later. For now, collective deep breath. I wanted to do a quick reading if I have time. I don't have a lot of time because I want to bring Krista on and respect her time as well. But I really was called to reflect on the Tower card during this season. And I was going to write something really thoughtful and reflect on not only the Tower card and how it correlates to the energy of Mars in Cancer right now, but also the Cancer full moon and how those energies are all connected in a very interesting way. Those of my friends who are astrologers will have a much better grasp on that. But it's interesting that this Mars in Cancer is happening around the same time as, again, the full moon in Cancer. If you guys didn't know this about the Tower card, interesting, the numerology link is 7, which is the same number as the Chariot card, which is the card of Cancer, as you guys know. And then the astrological sign or planet for the Tower is Mars, which is cuckoo bananas, right? And the element is fire. The key meanings of the Tower card are both destruction and enlightenment. And as this has all been happening, I was also, as a lot of you know, was in the process of going through like it ended up being 4 days almost water fast. And there were reasons for that. There were health reasons for that. There were also spiritual reasons for that. And I felt I had a lot of awakening during that season. When we have and experience tower moments in our lives, it does, because of the destructive nature of the Tower card, it really causes us to get back to the very bare basics of what's important to us. A lot of what's destroyed in those Tower moments, if it is a destructive energy, it can be material, but it can also be spiritual. It can be mental. It can be, absolutely a reset on what we have built and grounded our life on. And we're able to have then an opportunity to rebuild from there our lives in a way that is more meaningful for us in the season. And one of the things that I'm so encouraged by and humbled by watching the footage and people's personal stories, specifically of people who have been so deeply affected by these fires happening in Los Angeles right now, is how it is causing a shift in perspective for a lot of people, and the gratitude that they're able to find within themselves, even after having lost everything. And so I'm going to share maybe a little bit later some of those personal stories, just a couple. I want you all to know that for this giveaway or for the donations that you're donating today, I spent a lot of time trying to kind of ask God, like, okay, there's so many incredible organizations doing so much good right now. Where do we put the funds, right? Where do we deliver the funds? And I really, what I came back to was directly to the people. There are GoFundMes that are being vetted and are set up. Now, there's always scammers and whatnot. We don't want to dwell on any of that negativity on this, but there are GoFundMes that are being vetted with people that are with families that really have lost everything and really need our support. And so at this time, because so many of the charity organizations are like, their information is being circulated and they are doing so much and they're receiving so many donations, not that they can't use more, but I'm gonna, whatever we get today, I'm gonna give directly to the people who need them. And I'll just try to be intuitively led by spirit on who those people should be, who those families should be. So just so you know, that's where your donations will be going. And I will be completely transparent with you all on how much was donated and to whom and all of that. So the more donations we receive, the more going directly to those folks who need it. Okay. So I don't know that I'm going to do the full reading on the tower. I think you guys, I might do this as a separate thing, if that's okay with you guys, because I really do want to bring Krista on, but I do want to read a little bit more to you about this energy. So if that's okay, I'll reserve that tower reading either after this live or tomorrow when I do all of the personal. So if you guys donate $10 or more, you will get a free live personal, or not free, but you'll get a personal mini reading from me. I guess it is like you're donating, and then you also bonus, you get a mini reading from me. I'm going to do those tomorrow, and I'll do it at a scheduled time, which I'll schedule after the live. So y'all will know. If you can't be there, that's okay. I will timestamp it. But please add your question. If you are wanting the mini reading and you're donating $10 or more, please add your question to your donation. So in case you're not able to be there, I know exactly what to read for you. Okay, cool. So since I didn't have time to really get all into it, I'm going to just read to you a little bit from this book, and I want to share with you something from Imani Cohen, aka the Hood Healer, who I really love and follow on Instagram. She's full of a lot of wisdom. So she's somebody who is also a spiritual source during this time in Los Angeles. She is going to be starting, I believe, something in February. So that I think some free spiritual resources for folks. I know she does sound healing. She does ear candling. She does readings as well. So I think she's organizing a spiritual community out there that's going to be offering free services, from what I understand, starting in February, because this is going to be ongoing, you guys. It's not just all that we're seeing in the news right now. I know that the news cycle will pass and people will move on from this, but people in LA County are going to be, and California, are going to be affected for a long time to come. So there's going to be ongoing support needed as well. So I'm grateful for folks who are stepping in and are showing that support and committing to do so on a longer term basis, right? So the Tower card, it marks a point of awakening. Actually, let me start with this. As with the other supposedly dark cards in the major arcana, Death and the Devil, there's always a way forward, provided we can accept a force that is higher than us and adapt to a new way of living and relating to each other. If we've been costing ourselves away in ivory towers, it's time to come back down to earth. The tower marks a point of awakening. In the major arcana sequence, it falls after the Devil. If the Devil is pride, ego, and arrogance, then the tower is a fall from grace. It is a necessary stage of breakdown and rebuilding so our horizons can expand. We must look for a new place to be, physically or spiritually, and engage with new concepts and people if we are to progress to the Star card, which offers hope and the chance to follow a dream. So the Tower's planet is Mars, fiery and masculine, forceful and warlike. Although Mars's energy can bring destruction, with this comes a release, a breakthrough. In addition to that, the Tower, when it hits us with sudden change, the collapse of an ideal, a dream, an organization, or a relationship. This is inevitable and is due to forces beyond your control. The Tower can represent shattered ego, so you may feel vulnerable and confused. Yet you can only surrender to the power of the Tower and work on accepting the huge shift in awareness it offers, although the benefits may not be obvious just yet. The upside of the Tower is its message of release. The walls come tumbling down, but in the moment of destruction, everything is illuminated. You can see inside the Tower and look at how you built it, how you lived in your psychological tower, and what it protected you from. Now you can experience a flash of deep insight. With the Tower gone, you can begin to sense how the future might evolve. What you build next can have more foundation. Some readers find the Tower an apt descriptor of, well, let's not get into that stuff. Anyways, its wisdom message of the Tower is surrender. Okay. So let's also now, really quickly, speaking of Imani, the Hood Healer, this is what she wrote regarding, and if my mods want to share Imani's Instagram link, but this is what she shared regarding the full moon in Cancer, which is on Monday. So the full moon in Cancer also reminds us that we are part of a global family. It highlights the importance of collective responsibility and accountability, showing us that no one can truly thrive in isolation. Our well-being is deeply interconnected, and our actions or inactions ripple far, far beyond ourselves. This is a moment to fortify our value systems, realign ourselves with community, and embrace compassion. This is our collective moment to recognize that caring Our world is the only way forward. It is the only way to secure home. This Cancer full moon is a powerful reminder that home and security are not always tangible. Cancer, ruled by the moon, governs our sense of safety, belonging, and emotional roots. The wildfires challenge this directly, displacing families, destroying homes, and burning businesses. Yet, Cancer teaches us that home is not just a physical space. It's a feeling, a state of being. Home is wherever you plant your feet. You are always at home on this planet. This lunation calls us to reflect on our relationship with Earth as our collective home. It asks us to take better care of it, to honor it, and to step into our roles as stewards of this sacred place. I think this fire is pushing people toward their true north. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to us turns out to be the best thing. When the smoke clears, we can see the rainbow. Where do you truly want to live? What do you truly want to do? Go there. Do it. History has shown that you are a phoenix. You will rise, beloved. I love you guys so much. I'm going to send a link to Krista and welcome her in. I will do this tower reading, but I want to honor this time and honor her time. And since y'all already know that your girl is long-winded, Krista, if you're watching, don't feel pressured to come in right away. I'm going to share a couple videos while we're waiting and getting warmed up. You guys, please keep those donations coming in. And again, remember when we hit our goals, then we have our giveaways. Those are super chat goals. You guys can also donate again via PayPal, via Venmo and Cash App as well. And again, all of those donations are going to go directly to the families that are affected by the fires in California right now. So thanks again, you guys. Let's vibe in the chat. Ooh, y'all, if you guys have ever been to, actually first, let's reflect on how is the energy that's going on around y'all and in our collective affecting you personally right now. Go ahead and share. Let's hold space for each other collectively. There's a lot going on. And even if you're not in Los Angeles, there's a lot going on in everybody's lives. I want everyone to hold space for our friend Leah over there at Reiki Resolutions. Just found out a family member of hers has stage 4 cancer. And so she's going to be taking a YouTube break. But we really love her that here around this channel, she's been a massive support for us on our journey. And we've been supporting her on hers. She's a beautiful Reiki healer. So please hold some love for her if you would. And let me see if I can share my screen again. And I want to show you just like the resilience of this beautiful community in Los Angeles, because a lot of the focus has been on celebrities and wealthy folks in LA, but there's a lot of people who are absolutely not that. And that is not really the whole of the beautiful, diverse community that is Los Angeles. So I want to share a little bit of that with you guys because LA has my heart. It was my home for so long. So let me share with you one of the beautiful souls who's been impacted by the fires and her message of hope. And it's so beautiful, you guys. It's so, so beautiful. Okay.
For over 40 some years. But thank God I'm here. I will reveal better than ever And I thank the Lord
Yes.
to be here, to be able
Yes.
to reveal.
Yes.
God is good
Yes, He is.
all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And I thank you, Lord.
Yes, indeed. We thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Yes, Lord. Yes. Lord, it hurts, but I know you got a plan, Lord. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So
Here.
this woman is one of many Black families that has been really impacted in the Altadena area. I'm going to share a little bit more about that area and that fire because it's not really getting a lot of coverage, but this was shared through Walk Good LA, which is another account on Instagram that I highly recommend you follow for more of these personal stories and to kind of get more of the experience of what it's really like on the ground there. So let me share this with you real quick to tell you more about the Altadena area. Okay.
The fires in LA are more than the Palisades fire, and I need people to realize that. I keep seeing this graphic float around about the size of the Palisades fire in acreage compared to the size of Manhattan in acreage. And while this fire is absolutely insane and it's horrible for everyone in the Pacific Palisades, the Eaton fire that's happening in Altadena is absolutely equal in the amount of damage that it's done, but no one is talking about it. The Eaton fire has burned down 13,690 acres of land. Altadena, which is the town that is completely impacted by that, is all but gone. Altadena is the first middle-class Black neighborhood in Los Angeles and in California. A lot of those homes that were lost were generational homes that Black people first were able to buy ever in this city and ever in this state. I feel like just because Altadena is a more diverse city with more working class people who happen to also be Black, people aren't talking about it. So I'm going to talk about it. Altadena was one of the few places in the country that restricted redlining and prevented Black people from buying homes. So Black people, after the Great Migration, when they came to California, it was a place where educators, creatives, and artists could thrive in Altadena. So most of those homes there, even though they're worth millions today, they were bought relatively cheaply 70, 60 years ago. And that goes for a lot of the homes that burned down. A lot of people assume that these people are rich because they have a $10 million house. That $10 million house was $200,000 or $100,000 50 years ago. It just went up in value. I think from the outside looking in, a lot of people don't feel sympathy for people in Los Angeles because they have an archetype of what they think a Los Angeles resident is, and that's a rich white celebrity. Whereas the bulk of this city is average working class people. 450,000 people are homeless in this city. There's 4 million people in LA, of which 300,000 are millionaires. That leaves the rest in a working class tax bracket. And people shouldn't have to be poor for you to have empathy, right? We should be able to empathize with someone's life being burned down. And I think it's just really sad that, one, there's a lack of coverage of the fire that is just as big as the Palisades fire, and two, how people can just be evil online. We got to do better. The fire.
Okay. So yeah, I just really, really wanted you guys to get a different perspective. Julia says, yes, exactly. Julia is a California native, and she knows and has friends and family also in the LA area and is part of our community here on YouTube as well. I see Krista has joined. I'm going to bring her on. Thank you guys again for all the love and support. Krista, are you ready, girl? I can see if you give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come in. Okay, cool. All right, let's see, let me get us sharing the screen. And there we go. Krista,
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I thought I could do this, and I just don't know. It's like so raw.
It's really raw and it's really hard. And Jessica, for you and for me and for everyone who's here, like it's okay to cry. I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's really devastating.
Krista, I meant to read your bio before you came on. It's just
It's okay.
But y'all, Krista is both a natural born and trained oh my gosh, I'm so terrible at saying clairsentient, intuitive healer, an award-winning multidisciplinary artist who has been an active yoga, meditation, and breathwork practitioner for over 15 years. She holds an MA in visual anthropology with a focus on the anthropology of modern healing practices, a BFA in image arts, and is a certified non-practicing holistic nutritionist. But she gave me a lot of some good tips when I was doing the water fast. So thank you. Still practicing your own way.
Yeah.
Krista has studied extensively under renowned industry professionals, including Dr. Pedram. Is it Pedram?
Yes.
Shojai.
Yeah.
Rose Cole, Dr. Daniel Kalish, and Rhea Ray. Her work has been featured in numerous international publications and on radio television programs, including the Toronto Star, Yoga Digest, Sirius XM Radio, CTV News, and Yahoo News. She has worked and exhibited her creations worldwide, from New York City to Cannes to Seoul to Bogota to Montreal and beyond. Krista's public soul-led workshops have been hosted at studios in both New York City and Los Angeles. I've been privileged to join some of her workshops. In fact, she used to lead breathwork. It's not how we met, but I was so blessed to be able to know you, to be able to participate in her breathwork workshops, which honestly, for me particularly, I think during the time of the pandemic, but we're so healing. I mean, it's so transformative, and I highly we'll get into some tools later, but I highly recommend breathwork for you guys. She continues to practice and create with deep humility, but that's not really all that she does. It's beyond that. But anyway, yeah, we'll get into that. She continues to practice and create with deep humility, gratitude, and a sense of absolute wonder for all this world has to offer, dark and light. She is my fellow crab, Cancerian sister. So all my fellow crabs understand that means big hearts.
Big hearts, big feeling. My dog is here. His birthday's on Monday. He's a Capricorn, but he has a Cancer moon. He's a healer too.
Mozart! His name is Mozart, you guys.
Mozart.
He's adorable. And he's traveled the world with Krista.
He has. Yeah, we got back just in time for all of this. Oh. Yeah. Thank you for that intro, Jessica. That was wow. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you everyone. Mozart the Floof. Yeah. Yes, thank you guys for all of your comments and for the donations and for showing up today. And let's see.
So is he? I forget. Is he? He's a cockapoo or a labradoodle?
He's an English golden doodle.
Oh, a golden doodle. Okay.
Yes.
Somebody's asking, is he a poodle mix? Yes.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah. He's mostly he's like 90% poodle. Yeah. I was like, should I say that? No, I don't know. Weirdly, his dad was a miniature poodle named Pyro.
Pyro.
Yeah. I was like, just going to say it as a tidbit. And then I was like, should I maybe not? But hopefully we all know the intention here. It's just a wild coincidence.
Yeah. Krista. So let's see, Juliet, we're sending love to you. Juliet saying, so
much love to Juliet. I've seen some of Juliet's comments about having family here and
family. And we have a few people in the chat. Julia, there's several people in the chat, I think, right now who have family and friends who are in California, but not in Los Angeles County, but do have friends and family who are there. So yeah, we're definitely holding space.
Even within the county, like, let me tell you, the conditions are so drastically different, right? Like, my friends and neighbors who are all over LA, like some of them have the National Guard like blocking their streets. They can't leave home. They can't see anything. They've got like really intense masks on. It's really, the air is very dense there. And I am so unbelievably fortunate. And I also believe that there was some level of divine intervention in moving me. I lived in Santa Monica near the evacuation line for nearly 10 years. And out of nowhere, I had to move very suddenly and very chaotically. And it wasn't what I wanted or where I wanted to be. But I am here in Culver City, and like my weather app says the air quality is good today. My air purifier is not picking up on any VOCs. I can see the mountains. I can see the hills. I can see downtown from my window here. It doesn't take away from the devastation at all. Like I can still feel, you know, how it's rocking the county and everybody's pain. And it's such a difficult time. But for those of you who do have friends and family here locally, like know that there are pockets that are kind of like safe zones where it is, you know, as sort of back to normal as it can be, while we hold space for the fact that the fires are still kind of raging, right? Like,
yeah. Can you, because you are there, and so a lot of folks haven't been there, can you kind of talk us through a little, like from the beginning and how, like when you first heard about the fires and kind of the impact of it, and how like from then till now, the progression of things and how you're kind of seeing the city shift through this?
Yeah, I think initially, and I've seen a lot of comments on social media of people saying things like, you know, if someone's lost their pet or hasn't been able to find a family member, they kind of got disconnected. They're like, you know, if there was a fire in the state next to me, I would evacuate immediately. Or if there was a fire in the next town, I would evacuate immediately. Like, what were you Californians doing? Kind of like, what's wrong with you? And I think it's really important to maintain the perspective that not to this degree, but like wildfires are a pretty normal occurrence out here. I mean, even like I've been here for 10 years. I'm from Canada. And when they started, there was this general air of like, oh, like our fire department's really great. They usually work really, really hard to prevent it from spreading into a city or a residential area. Like we trust them. Kind of like just another day at the office. Like, of course, it's heartbreaking for the wildlife and for the area in general, for the plant life. And I agree, there is an element of rebirth and all kinds of energetic shifts that need to happen. But I think generally speaking, people felt like it was business as usual. And that's why you're seeing so many stories of people saying like, I wasn't able to get any of my personal belongings out, or I don't know where my dog is or where my cats are, or I had to abandon my car en route as I was evacuating, or, you know, people who really heartbreakingly didn't make it out at all because there wasn't this immediate sense of this is really, really urgent. This is really serious. I don't want to overlook Altadena at all. But I know specifically, like in the Palisades, one of the only routes out was to go down Sunset to PCH. And I've even seen comments of people looking at videos of the cars everywhere. I don't know if you guys have seen the footage there. Like it was just gridlock and people just left their cars, and then bulldozers had to go through and push the cars out of the way. And I've seen comments of people saying like, wouldn't it have made more sense to like park your car at the side of the road so that firefighters could get through? And the stories coming out of that experience are like, we did not have time. There were, you know, officials and firefighters with megaphones yelling at us to get out of our cars, to abandon them. We were pulling, you know, kids and dogs and family members through flames to get out of there.
Yeah.
That's how quickly the conditions shifted, and that's how quickly it spread. And then there was this palpable tension in the air where everyone everywhere was on edge. Like, you know, do I have to pack a go bag? Should we leave? Gridlock got really bad. Like traffic just became, you know, the nightmare that it can be in LA almost immediately after that, because people who weren't in evacuation zones were trying to get out, understandably, as well. And then more people were being evacuated with mandatory orders. And we all kind of went through this like very bizarre process. And again, it's not to take anything away from people who didn't have time to do this and who have lost everything, because that's its own astronomically heartbreaking, difficult thing to digest and work through. But I know I personally, and a lot of my friends and neighbors, like the next night we were up until like 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, just going through and like documenting for our own edification and also for insurance purposes, like what we had in drawers and in closets. And you kind of have this moment of, I need to pack an emergency bag, but if I have time to take something else with me, like if I can pack a suitcase or something that I don't have to leave while I'm evacuating, what am I going to take? Like, you're taking stock of everything that you own. Yes, they are just material items, but we're also human beings, and some of them have sentimental value. Or even I was looking at like, what could I sell? Like, what do I have that's of value, like a nice watch or something, where if insurance doesn't come through for me, I could use that money to survive. But if it does come through for me, I could sell it and give that to someone else in need, right? Like, it was just this really, really, you know, bizarre, but also kind of poetic experience of figuring out like what gets left behind in these types of situations.
And that's another thing too. Yeah. I think that a lot of people aren't realizing, who are saying, well, you know, a lot of the people affected are wealthy, which isn't entirely true. But even if somebody, like a lot of the families were people had in the homes people had in their families for generations, for 50 years more. Like a lot of those homes were like from the 60s and had been through generations. And so, but in addition to that, what has happened in California is a lot of people's insurance policies were not coming through, and their disaster insurance wasn't there for them. So even if you are insured and you're trying to do your due diligence to make sure that, you know, you're protected and you're safe in case of a disaster, a lot of people were, you know, found out, unfortunately, that was not the case, that there was no protection in place for them.
I do have, Jessica, I do have an update on that, and I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how it's being implemented or if insurance companies will comply. My understanding is it's illegal for them not to. But the insurance commissioner for California did release a statement. Was that yesterday or the day before? He put a moratorium in effect that goes back to October of last year, basically saying like, it's illegal for these insurance companies to have dropped their clients, and it is the law for them to pay people out. Now, whether or not they're going to comply, how much they're going to give to people remains to be seen. But I think initially some of the reports of people's claims being denied were prior to him putting that moratorium into effect. So I'm definitely, you know, praying and holding everyone in my thoughts and hoping that insurance companies do the right thing.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about, because you kind of started to talk about the emergency preparedness, and Krista has some really, really great tips that maybe even like beyond what some would have thought or would think. Well, a couple of things that I noted, and it's hard, Krista, it's hard when you're in the process, right? And that's why it's so important to be prepared. But when you're in the middle of an emergency, or God forbid, like I don't know if you know, but I actually experienced I was unhoused at one point when I was in college due to a fire in my apartment building when I was living in Boston. And I actually so it's so weird because I was coming home from class and a friend of mine was like, hey, you want to go get dinner? And I was like, sure. Okay. Random. Doesn't usually happen. I was really prepared to go home. We went to dinner. And if I hadn't gone to dinner, I would have been in the building when it happened. But I'm walking back from my stop on the T, and I like see all these fire trucks on my street. And I'm walking past, looking at the fire trucks like, oh, wow, what happened? And I literally walk right past my building, which was clearly the whole front of the building burned down. And it just didn't register for me because you're in such shock. Yeah. And I know it's my building logically, but it didn't, I couldn't process it. And I was just like, oh, there's a fire. Oh, that's terrible. I just keep walking. And then I get to the end of the block and I'm like, wait, that was my building. Yeah. And so thankfully the Red Cross and Jason, thank you for the super chat there, Jason. He already has donated to the Red Cross, and I'm so grateful, Jason, for that. But the Red Crosses who came through for us in that situation and gave us hotel vouchers and meal vouchers, and so I just like, it's like Mr. Rogers says, like, always look for the heroes, right, in the situation. Yeah. But for us, like, regardless of the circumstance, it's always good to be prepared ahead of time. Sometimes like you're stuck at work or you're at school or something and you're not able to get to get in time, but the more prepared you can be, the better. So what are some of your tips, Krista, for being prepared in case of an emergency?
Oh gosh. I mean, yeah. I think there are practical tips, but also like, let's start by saying, like you said, it's normal to go into shock, even if you haven't, lost everything or seen destruction or devastation at that point, right? Just even if like, I have to leave, it's not abnormal to have any number of feelings, right? To go numb, to be crying, to be screaming, to be panicking, to not be able to think clearly. I'm definitely also, part of the discourse that's happening on social media is people who have gotten out of this sharing those stories, and some of them saying like, I feel guilty that I got out, or I feel ashamed of the fact that these are the items that I chose to take. Or, I remember seeing one post too, where this girl was like, I went to CVS to replace some of my toiletries, and I feel really dumb for like standing there for ages trying to figure out which color toothbrush I needed. And for some reason, I just like have latched onto the color blue, and I need to buy everything in blue. And that's kind of how I'm coping. And I feel stupid for doing that. And these are, I want to say they're all natural and normal responses, but I also want to say like there is no normal, right? Like we all move through things in different ways, and we all process differently, and we process grief differently. And I said in an Instagram story recently, like some people actually have the capacity to process and move through things quite quickly. And some people will appear as if they have, but they've just dissociated. But for some people, it's going to ebb and flow for possibly decades or the rest of their lives. And they're going to find, care and healing. And it's not dismal at all. Healing is possible. But like, let's just create space for any and all feelings and experiences. When we have time, and if we can think clearly, let's not shame ourselves for not doing this. Right. Or shame anyone for no shame. But like, as I had mentioned, and some of my dear friends who are in the legal field had pointed out to me, if you have the time and you can take a moment, grab your cell phone and like do a walkthrough of your house and snap photos of everything, or take a video as you're walking through. Even if like it's just snapping a picture of the room. If you have time though, like if you can go through drawers or your closet or whatever, just to kind of take stock of what you have. you can even do that like at any point in time. Like you could do it each quarter or once a year or every time you get a new item, so that you've got this sort of library ready to go, you know, God forbid anything should happen. But that can be really, really helpful. One, for insurance purposes, but also if you're struggling to think clearly after the fact. And I'm hearing so many people say as well, like, man, I didn't grab photos of like me and my grandmother, or I'm an artist and I haven't documented all of my paintings, or I have invested in other artists, or I was gifted a really beautiful art piece and I don't have that. I think there's a tendency within spiritual communities to just want to let go of all of the material, but it can be really grounding and comforting and can help maintain that sense of connection to some sense of normalcy, to have videos and photos of those things that we hold near and dear to our hearts.
Yes. Do you recommend like making copies of things and maybe keeping them in a separate place away from your home, like in a, like having a, not a storage facility, it's expensive, but like getting a lockbox, or I don't know, or something like that, or even like doing a fire, like a fire safe.
Yeah, you could,
like,
you could.
Items there.
Yeah, so that everything is in one place. I think it also depends on, I know that's something that my family members do who live in homes with basements and, you know, a few bedrooms or something like that, where that everything is in a safe so that they know where to grab it. We know, you know, in fires like this, even if a safe says it's fireproof, they don't always make it through. So it's sort of more of a, I know where everything is. It's, you know, safe from like break and enters or something like that. But in an emergency like this, I can go to that one location and get everything that I need. I live in like a small 1-bedroom apartment. I've lived in studios before. So I just tend to have my documents like in a, I won't say where, but like in a place where, you know, like I'm renting. I don't have a safe here, but like I have them all in one place. So I know where to go and get them.
Julia is saying place your, like, especially like photos nowadays, you can scan everything and you can upload it to the cloud or send to yourself via email, which is also a really, really good idea. There's also, if you can't, like, if you don't have like a safe, there are like fire and waterproof bags, I believe now that
there are. I think there's even like I don't know what the company is called, but it's like a document holder that's like fireproof or something, where you can like put all of your documents and whatever else that you need in there. But that was really critical. I would say like everyone I know, and myself included, there was sort of a delineation between like I have a go bag that has, you know, my passport, my the physical card for my social. Mozart just got his like travel passport, so like his documents, and then I am here on a green card. I used to be on a work visa, so like getting that paperwork in order. If you are someone who takes medication, like take the things that you really need that are going to be difficult, birth certificates, things like that. Put them in a bag. I put dog food in a bag, and like his travel bowl. A change of clothes for myself, my laptop, like kind of the bare minimum of what you need to get out. I know I shared on Instagram, and I've heard other people sharing this too. It can be really, really beneficial. Like a lot of people will just take the one change of clothes or one change of underwear or just the shoes that they're wearing. It can be really, really helpful and beneficial. Again, if you're thinking clearly and have time in the moment to take a few spare changes and stuff, because if you can't go back or if you have to shelter in place somewhere for several days, again, it gives you that sense of normalcy to like be able to like kind of clean up and put something fresh on, rinse the other stuff that you were wearing out, or go and take it somewhere to do some laundry. I shared my personal story. I said maybe it was too much information, but when I was evacuating Hurricane Odile in Mexico after having spent days in a shelter, I was really, really thankful that I had packed a second pair of Birkenstock sandals, because in the moment we were trying to get out, and we were having to go and like, you know, you have to go to the bathroom. You'd have to like go down an alley or go behind a dumpster or something and try to figure things out. And there were high winds everywhere. And whether it's your own or your pets or someone next to you, like I ended up with urine in my shoe. Could I have survived with like pee on my shoe, like in the footbed, and it was a sandal, right? Like, could I have survived? Absolutely. But God, I was really great. It was that little thing in that moment. I was so grateful to be like, you know what, just leave them. Like I have another pair with me. Yeah. I'm like fresh and clean. Let's just like leave that memory behind.
That's like, so let me say, I have a go bag, and I highly recommend everyone having a backpack. So Jocelyn, who's another California girl, and has friends and family in LA. We're sending blessings to them, but she's saying to put in a suitcase or something. I highly recommend a backpack, and a backpack that has a special space for your laptop. If you're like me, you're a writer, or you need your laptop for like your livelihood, and you know what I mean? Like it's really important, I think. But then it also mine has like a compartment on the bottom just for shoes. So one of the things that I saw a lot of people saying was that they had the wrong shoes on, like they had, you know, slippers or clogs or something, and then they had to go back like to the wreckage, and it was like they had no proper shoes to, you know, it's dangerous. It's a disaster zone. And so having you know, a good pair of shoes also, in addition to like a sandal or something like that, that's easy slip on and off, is really, really good, I think. But for me, whenever I travel, I always have like trash bags. I always have like trash bags, wipes, you know, like things like that that really, really do come in handy.
I always have protein bars.
Protein bars are good too.
And you can even, you can buy go bags online if that's, you know, something that would make you feel a little more at ease too, that will have like kind of rationed protein snacks. And I think they have like one of those like water purification straws.
Yes. Oh
yeah. I had just had like several cases of spring water delivered to my place. So I was kind of like, okay, I can lug that out with me if I need to, and happy to share. But yeah, you know, they're all things that you don't necessarily think of in the moment. And again, there's no shame in just having your person, your body, and your loved ones and walking out the door. But if you can remember to grab these things, it can be really, really helpful.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I had to, somebody, LZ fan said she was gonna super chat to help us meet the goal, but the time ran out. So this is what I'm gonna do. The goal was for 5. I'm not gonna use YouTube because I'm not even seeing the option to reset it. But the goal is for every 5 super chats. So what I'm gonna do is change it up. Every 5 donations, we'll do the giveaway. The giveaway is not connected to YouTube. It's connected to StreamYard, which I'm using to stream this live. So if you guys, so every time we hit 5 donations, I'll run the giveaway. So I see we have 3 super chats and we had 1 Cash App. If anyone's done PayPal, let me know. I'm going to open it just to check and see how close we are, because we're at 4 from my count, but maybe we're closer than I think and we can do a giveaway. Yay. Does anyone else in the chat have more tips in terms of, like, if you've been in a situation, I know a lot of you have, where you were in an emergency and you, in retrospect, you're like, oh, I wish I had brought this or that thing, or I had thought of that, this or that. If anyone has any other advice or tips, let us know.
Well, keep an eye on that. I'm going through what else I said in the moment. It's like one of those things when you're a trauma survivor, you snap into, you're sort of at attention, you know exactly what to say in the moment. And now that I've been like sitting and watching things for a couple of days, my brain feels a little bit fried. But I know one of the other things that, and please feel free to jump in with whatever anyone else says. You had to evacuate the Laguna fire, Jocelyn. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow.
Wow. One of the other things that I did was I've really good friends from the UK who had just moved out here who are closer to the Eaton fire in Koreatown. So we were in communication early on, making a plan. And sort of like phase A or stage 1 was if they were to be given a mandatory evacuation order, they would come to my place, and then vice versa, with me being a little closer to the Palisades fire. But we also looked at the map of where all of the fires were, and we chose a location, the IKEA parking lot in Carson. We chose an actual address that seemed to be kind of out of harm's way at the time. And we made a plan to just drive straight down the 405 and meet each other there, and then figure out where we were going to go from there. It can be absolutely life-saving to have that plan in place, because again, if you're panicking in the moment and you're trying to grab your documents and you're trying to get out of your home or your building at the last minute, there can be this sense of like, okay, I'm out, but where do I go now? Particularly if you're dealing with a gridlock situation and everyone around you is panicking.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for saying that. And I just my God, I'm so grateful to you guys, because I just opened PayPal and I'm still like, oh, okay. Thank you guys so much.
Wow.
Just so you guys know, all of this is going to go directly to families that need it. I'm not, I really like, I was like, God, I don't know who to give this to. There's so many great organizations, and then there's this one, and that one is doing this, and I know these people personally, but then I was just like, I kept coming back to them, give it directly to the people, to the families. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go through, because there's thousands of people that have been vetted with GoFundMes. And so I'm just going to try to be intuitively led on which families to give to. I was feeling impressed. It was impressed upon me 4 families. So I will be completely transparent with you all on who those families are and how much, and share their links if you guys want to continue to give and donate, and just the link to all of the people on those GoFundMes. And I'll also share links to other charities in a new community post. I did share some in a previous community post, but I'm going to keep sharing resources. And I've taken a lot of screenshots, as I know Krista we've been saving reels and screenshots and all kinds of things. There's so much
so much good that's happening.
So much good. Oh
There's
my
so
God.
much good. I'm seeing comments and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I want to be with all of it. Who was it? Someone said they're from Carson. Love Carson, IKEA. Love Carson. Tarot vibes through Venmo. Thank you.
Is this okay? Newbie me. I was born and raised in Carson. I don't know that Newbie me. What? Okay, I finished college there, and my family's in the South Bay. See, when I started this channel, I was in Sherman Oaks in the Valley, and so I think because of the time zone and everything, a lot of the subscribers that came on initially were from the same area. And so, or around, in California. And obviously you guys can tell by my accent, and I'm proud of it. I don't care. I'm a California girl and raised by a Valley girl. So I can't help it. It's in my blood. But
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I think that we don't have to go all the way down that path, but I think that loops into the conversation you and I had, Jess, about how heavy it was on your heart to see some of the California hate online. And I just said, like, people project and externalize in weird ways. And if people want to pick at the way someone speaks or looks, or, the gravity of a disaster, or how someone's dealing with something on social media, that's more of a reflection of what they've got going inside than your light or the truth of what we know LA County to be as a community, or California on the whole to be as a vast community. But there's so much good, like literally, you guys, I don't know if you've seen this or you've heard, but places that have been accepting donations, and animal shelters and human shelters, like they have been turning people away who are showing up with more donations because they have received so many goods, like what Jess has organized here to fundraise and get money into the hands of the right people to rebuild their lives, or begin to rebuild their lives, or get a little bit of relief, is still vital, and is just an incredible thing that you're all showing up for right now. But in terms of like t-shirts and shoes and dog crates and pet food, like the response has been so overwhelming. Like people have really banded together, have really rallied, have really shown their generosity in some absolutely incredible ways.
Yeah. Okay. So we're actually joined by a third guest, and I wasn't sure if she's going to come. But this is my cousin Mukti, who is currently living on an ashram in Portugal, on the continent. I'm in the Azores, in the islands, and one of the giveaway. If we hit all of our goals, if we get to the third one, you get a Mukti. She's an artist. This is actually Krista, her art.
That is stunning.
Sorry for the cat for you guys, but this is art on a t-shirt. Here's a sweatshirt. Also, that just so you can see more of her art. But yeah, and she's Mukti Bird, and so they're called Muktis. And if you guys
incredible.
They're gorgeous, and so she like myself is also from California. And LA is so near and dear to her heart. So I wanted her to share as well. And she may bless us with maybe some song. I don't know. I can see you. If you don't want to, it's okay.
Oh, no pressure, but I would love it if you would join us too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring her on, but real quick, I want to run through what some of the folks were saying. And it looks like we're gonna have a giveaway. We may have two if we get 2 more donations. We get 2 giveaways already. So thank you guys, because we've had 8 so far, and I'm so grateful to all of you. And I'm so excited to give these to these families. But let me share with you. So again, it's not going to be super chats only. Any donations on any of the platforms, anytime we reach 5, then we'll do a giveaway. Okay, so that's how we'll do it. To make it easier, because YouTube is really finicky. But let me share a couple of these real quick, and then I'm going to bring.
Just while you're organizing that, I just want to say Newbie Me also said earthquakes, my childhood traffic equals PTSD. Lots of big laughing emojis, but that's something that maybe we'll touch on after you share all of this too. Is the very real, sort of impact or evolution into PTSD or CPTSD territory. And because I've also seen comments of that too, like someone said they had PTSD from surviving a fire in the past on a post that I was looking at earlier. And there were people in the comments who, not everyone knows how to process their emotions, and not everyone understands like psycho, spiritual, emotional health. And they were like, well, what does PTSD look like in someone who's not a war veteran? Like I've only ever heard it, as it applies to war. So that's a very real thing, but please continue. And
we definitely need to touch on that and resources for processing trauma and PTSD. And maybe when Mukti comes on, we can talk about that too. To explain to people, like a lot of people, they associate it with like war or others. I don't know. I guess that's an okay thing to say on YouTube. YouTube is also finicky about what you can and cannot say.
Okay. So, I'm used to the like TikTok, what you can and cannot say. And then I forget that it's different everywhere.
But yeah, and it's not just that. So
we'll call it something else.
Right.
Massive conflict.
Massive conflicts. There we go. We can use like, there you go. Or MC. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think of astrology and Midhaven and whatever. Okay. Anyway, Julia, not a nature trauma survivor, but I am a survivor of DV, which I have learned to document and upload for safekeeping all important valuables away from home. Yeah. And have a to-go bag / box ready. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Julia.
Absolutely.
And so Monica says, our LZ fan 99, traveling a lot for dad lately. I've had my little vanity case stocked, my suitcase constantly packed. I just throw in clothes whenever, if you do laundry, you have several bottles of water, stashed in your car. Yeah. Having water stashed. There was another, mentioned like having like food that will last you and is portable, like a protein bar. There's also for you guys who are adversely affected by the the air quality, if you are in the vicinity of these wildfires or are ever in the vicinity of wildfires, because we know that there have been others going on in the US and I'm sure other places in the world.
Any disaster. I mean, you think of the air quality with like 9/11 or something like that too, right? Like it's.
Yeah. Having a stash of masks is good. Yeah. And N95, or what's the other one that's like supposed to be really good for filtering the air, I forget, but N95 masks. There's also you can, if you don't have the resources or finances to buy an air purifier, I saw a really great reel, maybe I'll share the link on another community post, but on how to build one really cheaply and easily. So, and supposedly works just as well, if not better, than the ones that you buy at the store. So yeah, I think that's also a good thing to have an air purifier and masks on hand.
I'm seeing N95, KN95, or FFP2 are the most effective. Was that something you were thinking of?
Yes. Yeah. Who said that? I was scrolled way up too high. Let me go. You should still wear a mask. Jocelyn saying someone said the air is bad and some buildings might have asbestos. Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah. Even some people have been saying, like, with all of the just personal belongings, like plastics and things that have melted in the area too. And I think there was concern in some areas in some of the older homes that there could be lead in the paint.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow, Jocelyn. Sorry, Jocelyn saying one of her friends is a beach volleyball player. He saved his house in Pacific Palisades using the water in the jacuzzi. There you go.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I have a friend who's currently, I guess, on one of the only streets going towards Encino and Brentwood in the Palisades, who wasn't under mandatory evacuation until last night. And obviously they are, quite well off and in a position to do this. And it's, frustrating that not everyone has access to these things. Absolutely. But they've hired, along with some of their neighbors, a team of private firefighters. And I think she's on the roof of her house right now, and they're currently fighting it. And I'm praying that, they make it out alive with or without their belongings.
Okay. Pam Bear, girl, lady, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. That's incredible. Thank you
so
much for that donation.
Pam Bear, hail Jessica, hail Krista. No, that's so kind. But let's move into an era where we are not hailing anyone. Let's move forward with love.
That's a whole other conversation.
I think that's I do think that we're spiritually we're shifting away from idolizing people, and not that this relates to Pam Bear's comment, but narcissistic.
No, she always says that, and it's really sweet.
Yeah. I know it was very lighthearted, but I'm just saying no, pish posh. We're all equal. We're all equal level.
It's like the ego versus echo. We're all a circle, not a triangle, right?
But let's move more into that sort of circular way of being, please.
So we're gonna be able to do a giveaway when I bring Mukti on, because we've got, let's see, thank you Marita, thank you LZ Fan 99, yes, love, and to all of the people in the LA area. Thank you Jason, I just thought you also sent a PayPal too. So I'm taking the one that you sent yesterday as being for today. So, sir, thank you for all of your generosity. So appreciate it. And then let's see. Marita, LZ Fan, Jason, and of course Pam Bear. And then thank you on PayPal to Felicia, to Monica. Again, Monica, thank you. Emily, Julia, and again, Jason, thank you. Thank you to Jennifer, who also sent via Cash App. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And if I missed anybody, I apologize. I'm going to do 2 giveaways then right now. But first, let me introduce another very special guest, my cousin Mukti Bird. Joining us from the continent, from Portugal. So
you're like, which continent?
How are you? Oh my god, I'm like so happy to see your face. I love you so much.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can everyone hear? Give like thumbs up in the chat if you can hear Mukti. I'll shut up so you can talk.
Oh no, it's great. I've been so enjoying this whole this evening. I mean, it's evening here. I know in the US it's a lot earlier. I'm just really touched by this initiative, and I grew up in California outside of LA, but I did live in Highland Park for some time, and I just have a lot of friends there, and have just been following and very deeply holding everyone, and just been just really, I mean, it's hard when you're so far and you want to be able to do something. But I'm really grateful for these kind of opportunities right now to come together, and also Jess, just the way you've kind of curated this program to be sharing information in such a holistic way. That's really, really, really valuable. And just I'm so happy to be here with this energy of what you've been offering. I just find it's really uplifting.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my love. So we have a couple of people who are saying they cannot hear you very well. And I'm struggling a little bit too. And I put my volume all the way up, but I don't have headphones on like Krista. And probably if I did, I could hear you better, but I don't know if there's okay.
She needs a minute.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I get the sense, and I'm hearing from everybody that I've run into, even in my community, that like everyone here knows at least one person who's lost everything. Yeah.
My mom's so far there's some people I haven't heard from, but so far everyone I know is either evacuated safely or is out of harm's way. However, there's been some close calls that even my mom and my uncle had evacuated early because it wasn't a mandatory evac, but they were just concerned because because these have spread so quickly and it's alarmed a lot of people. And then
what did they say at one point? Sorry, they were spreading at a rate of like 5 football fields per hour, or was it faster than that? Like it was just like a massive. I can't even wrap my head around how. I mean, a football field that's a lot of territory to cover.
Yes, that's crazy. This is good. Okay, here's another one. P100 filters for half mask respirators. That's good tips. Thanks for all the good tips you guys are sharing. I really, really appreciate that. Keep sharing good tips and your personal experiences. We'll keep going back to the chat and like sharing some of your lovely, lovely comments. And thank you, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, we're just happy you're here, boo. If you guys can't donate, don't feel bad. Hang out with us. Oh my God,
your love is so much. Love is so powerful. Let's not diminish the value of that.
Yeah, for sure. This is great. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Monica says she has some unopened heavy-duty mask filters for respirator masks she bought during COVID. She'd like to donate to anyone who has family, friends in the LA area. She thinks they're still good, haven't been used. So I know a lot of you guys in the chat do have friends and family that are out there who may, even some of you yourselves may be able to use these. So please connect with Monica, LZFan99, if you need that resource.
That's great. I don't know what the status is, but I think they're fine now. But for other people, my neighbors who are in Koreatown said at one point, they're a couple, they could only get one mask. I don't know if there's like a limit to how many can be ordered here, if that's all that was in stock. So thank you, Monica, for suggesting that. I'm sure someone needs them.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see, what else is... Oh yeah, so one of my mods is sharing some of the resources. So if you guys check in the chat, I've shared a couple of Instagram accounts that I think are really doing great work during this time. Secret Los Angeles, I think it's Walk Good LA, LA in a Minute. These are great Instagram accounts, just if you want to get a different perspective of Los Angeles and sort of the history and the beauty of the city. They really share a lot of great stories and walk you through some of the neighborhoods and some of the historic businesses, and those are really great accounts. So thanks for sharing those, you guys. In fact, so Mukti, can we hear you? But let's do a test.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? I think it's I'm so sorry about that. I had these like Bluetooth headphones that like sometimes work, the big ones, and they were not. So I was probably sounded like I was underwater.
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So it's better now. Is there anything that you said before you want to say again?
No, it's okay. I was just appreciating the way you both were holding the space, and that this is just, for those of us who aren't closer and can't help physically, and just to come together, and also just very, I just feel like I loved that video you shared of the woman who was like thanking God and walking around, and just like, those are like the kind of, when I lived in LA, like I just felt like I met those kind of angels all the time that are just so down to earth, and just say something that just like changes your whole perspective and uplifts you. And I don't know, I really, like, for me, the community out there, like I had quite a lot of angels on my path, and so I know that like a lot of us are just being very inspired by, in the midst of such an intense tragedy, the way people are helping each other and the outlook. And it's funny, I was looking through one of my old journals, and you were talking about the phoenix earlier, Jess, and I found this old drawing too, which I was just like really looking at, and it was like really a fire phoenix, which I don't know if you can kind of see, but
that's so beautiful.
And I liked a lot, like, while you've been sharing, I've also just been kind of like doodling too. And what I started, the first thing I put on the page before you even started this session was the star. And you talked about how, like, with the Tower card and like moving into the star, which is like, just the hope and the light. And I don't know, I feel like the renewal, which in the midst, when you're still like in the flames, it's like, it's hard to see that light, but I think we all know it's there. And and each one's heart is that light, like reaching out. And so I'll show you, this is what I've been drawing during this little session here, which,
oh my gosh,
I feel like I'm not so good at holding these things up, but the star is there.
It's so beautiful, and like the hands reaching through.
I have been receiving like a lot of downloads, and I was speaking to my mentor and healer about this too, that like there really is this energetic rebalancing that's happening right now. And I think maybe sometimes, like you said, like we feel like it's maybe too soon to talk about these things, but it's such an Angelino thing, right? Like I've seen videos of like mothers taking their children, their babies, like up to where their homes used to be, and seeing it for the first time, and turning to them in true like Californian fashion, and being like, through tears, like, this is not a bad thing. This is a portal. This is an opening. This is an opportunity to like deepen our sense of gratitude and learn more about love and community, and to create something new and better, and really passing those lessons on to what are, undoubtedly destined to be some of the greatest healers and space holders that this planet has ever seen, as they grow up under these circumstances, as is the case with, anything that's going on anywhere in the world that's this sort of challenging and heavy and dark.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jess.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you say.
No, I just wanted to share this video that I really love about what makes LA, because I was looking at Julia's comment about hence the city of angels, and I was going to say that, and then I saw Julia share that. But it really is. I think there's such a misconception about LA, and I don't want to dwell on the negativity of that. But when you really are there and you're among the people and you see their hearts, like, there's so many incredible souls there. And you do have those like moments of sort of kismet of encountering what really feels like real life angels, like angels in the flesh, which is so amazing. But just the diversity and the beauty of the city and what makes LA. Sorry, started before too. But hold on, it's like a really short reel. It's like maybe 30 seconds or something, or a minute at most. But let me share that real quick, and then okay. Are we not sharing? Wait, is it sharing? No, not yet. Okay. Okay, and it's Kobe Bryant's voice. May he rest in peace. But in case anyone wonders who's narrating that or recognizes the voice.
What makes LA unlike any other city?
Oopsies. Okay. So annoying.
I think the city's versatility.
We may have.
There's so much that you have here.
Okay, maybe doing a freeze because I've got like 2 other people.
LA can be anything you want it to be.
West Coast makes some noise.
If you want it to be something that's peaceful and nature oriented, it could be that.
Sorry, guys.
If you want the beach, it can be that. If you want the city, it can be that.
I tried.
So if you're inspired by films, you certainly have that. If it's sports, you have that. So I think
We may not be able to play videos anymore, you guys.
LA is really the only city in the world where it can be
It's the Watts.
anything you want it to be. What makes LA unlike any other city?
Okay, that was terrible. A fail, maybe, but we tried.
I think the city's versatility.
Okay.
That you have here.
Okay, I think we get the idea, but yeah, I guess I can't play videos right now. Sorry.
We got the vibe.
We got the vibes.
The vibe. I saw a similar reel this morning, and it said something about like what creates the magic in LA, and I reposted it and I added like it's not just the magic, it's the possibility of a dream coming true, and like Californians are all dreamers. And I have faith that we're gonna dream and we're gonna co-create a much brighter future for ourselves here.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Highland Park, actually, like right before I left, everything in my life kind of fell apart at once. Like relationship, the place I was living in, this beautiful home where I could actually look out and see the mountains and towards Altadena. And like, I remembered I had just gotten back after I'd lived in India there, and that space was so healing for me, but there started to be trouble inside that house, and just basically everything I knew kind of fell apart. And I remember I was so distraught. And one morning I went on a walk, and I over close to Eagle Rock, like there's just some beautiful like hills and walks over there, and I was just like crying. I just couldn't stop crying because I just felt so lost and scared. And on this walk there was like this book on the ground. All of a sudden I looked down, and there was just like a little, like it felt like just a little message on the back, and I felt like it was like just like a little text message from like spirit that was like, see, I'm sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way. And I was just like, okay, like I hear you, and it just, I don't know, it just felt like one of those LA I mean, wherever you are in the world, if you're open to these messages, but I felt that was a really important, like something I received from that time. And some of the community there that really just held me as things felt like they were falling apart to move into my next chapter. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I can see a lot of those acts happening for people right now. And at the same time, I can just sense the sense of fear and grief and all the natural things, like you were saying, that you just have to let yourself feel and be with. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think what you described often precedes any period of awakening for people. And That's the sense that I'm getting. And it's not to say, for anyone who's not used to receiving these types of messages, it's not to say anyone deserves what they're going through. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, it's these things that really grow us and force us to, get right with ourselves or higher selves, or if we believe in a higher power, and kind of click into our soul's true purpose. And there's this sense in my practice that this isn't like the last stop for global awakening, but it's like we're nearing the last stop where it's like, things are intensifying in this way, in sort of the divine order, to help wake more and more people up, awaken more and more people. And I want to clarify, when I say that, it's like awaken people to the love in their hearts, awaken people to how we are all connected, awaken people to their true soul's purpose, instead of, maybe running the rat race or things like that. Not in like I think sometimes we conflate awakening and wokeness, and those are different things, and they both have their place and their value and their, detriment and all of those things. But it kind of feels like it's like, okay, like it's getting bigger and it's getting more intense, because like we need everyone to stop bickering and fighting over things that are truly insignificant in the long run, and to work together. And regardless of what anyone believes, I know Jennifer Garter said something in an interview where she was like, we need to really be the hands of God right now. We really need to embody that.
I think one of the most beautiful things that comes out of these sorts of experiences is that it sort of forces you to put aside anything else. You just kind of go back to really what matters most.
Yeah.
And in the sense of community. And it's like, especially I know in California, it's been very divisive politically and in other ways, but it's like everyone just sort of forgets that when we're going through this. We noticed that during 9/11, we noticed that during like the pandemic, like people just kind of go back to very like the basics and the essence of our connectedness, and forget all of the extra stuff that really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I was, something I read so beautiful recently was all that you have at the end. Oh, I think you posted something. I think maybe it was you, Krista, that posted something like this.
Oh, me?
Maybe. I don't know, but it was like at the end, like all that you really have is the love you give. Like, and really, we think so much sometimes from a materialistic point of view of like, what can I acquire? What can I attain in this life? How high can I make my mountain of stuff, of things, to get to the top of? And it's like, one of the things I've really awoken to, especially in this season, is it's so much more important to have a heart of not only gratitude, but of generosity. And what can I give? And even if you don't have money to give, what do I have that I can give to others? And how much richer that makes you, rather than just like collecting stuff, even if that's collecting degrees or collecting, awards, or, or jewelry or purses or whatever people are spending their money on. It's, it's that collection of things that are so like materialistic in nature that doesn't really matter. And that's why I love being a water sign, because like, it's like that energy of like being able to feel so deeply, and to sort of also, it enables you also to ride those waves when they come. And so having a connectedness to spirit, having a connectedness to your own like emotional core centers, like, is really important, I think, to navigate times like these. Because then you're also able to be more empathetic to others, I think, regardless of their circumstance, whether it be, like yours or completely disparate from yours. So anyway,
I want to say thank you to Jocelyn, who is listing places that are accepting volunteers and donations in LA and the OC. Jocelyn, you've been at that for a few comments here. I really appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you for shouting out Pasadena Humane Society, by the way. I love them. I actually have had an experience with them when I was living in LA, a rescue experience where they were just amazing. Like their staff, the people there are amazing all the time, but they're really showing up right now for folks who had to, whose pets are displaced currently or injured. And they're definitely in need of volunteers and monetary donations right now. I think they're maxed out on like physical stuff, but they do need those monetary donations, particularly for the medical care that they're giving to animals that have been injured during this the fires. So
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jess. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they made sure that all of the animals that they had when this started were adopted out or fostered to clear the entire facility to take in animals that were either left behind or
I think right now they just have the injured ones that they're still caring for, but I think so.
Yeah, they've been working really hard over there.
Thank you. And yes, LA Fire Department Foundation is taking donations. All of the heroes. Oh, thank you, Jocelyn. Wildlife Recovery Fund. Thank you, Jocelyn. Girl. But yeah, the LA Fire
is on it.
On it. Thank you. Because I was like, oh, I can't play videos. I had so many like resources to share, but thank you guys for helping. There's so much going on. I wanted to share a video of like people all the volunteerism that's happening, but it looks like we won't be able to. But please check those resources I mentioned because you can get a lot of that footage. Try to stay away from all the negativity that's being perpetuated by the media right now. There's a lot of it. Try to focus and look for the heroes and look for the good in this season is what I'd have to say on that. I want to do a couple of giveaways real quick, but you girls talk amongst yourselves while I get that set up and going.
Let's give Mukti the floor for a little bit.
Oh.
Oh, that's okay. Actually,
if you would like it, no pressure. I can say things, until the end of my time on this planet. I have a lot of Gemini placement. I'm a Cancer, Sun, and Mars. I've got a Leo rising and a lot of Gemini placements. A Leo Mercury. I'm never at a loss for words.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go to the giveaway. We can go straight to the giveaway if you
go for it.
Okay, we'll take the pressure off y'all. But if you see more stuff in the chat, we'll also go to like a Q&A. But if you have more, what's great to share right now is more like positive stories from LA. But
there's so many positive stories right now. It's really moving and really, really incredible.
Okay, let's go to, what also though, if you guys want to share in the chat, we want to chat with you all too. Jocelyn is sharing a lot of resources.
YMCA. Amazing. Oh, you're searching on Google. Amazing. Thank you for doing that, Jocelyn.
Okay, I don't know if you guys realized, but you guys can all enter hashtag. You all better do it real quick before I start drawing because I don't think everyone got it. We're doing a giveaway. Every time we reach 5 donations, we're doing a giveaway. So all you have to do to enter is hashtag LA Strong in the chat to enter. Thank you so much to my mods who are helping with that. See, some of you guys have been doing it, but if you didn't and you want to enter, please do. All you have to do is hit hashtag LA Strong. That's for everybody, including the mods. So please do. Although Tonya, who's in there modding, the first prize is you. So you'd win your own services, but we can maybe swap it for something else. I'll give you a reading instead.
Sometimes we need our own care and attention.
Yeah.
If it turns out that way, then maybe it's divine intervention that Tonya needs to tap out for a little bit and do some self-care.
So I'll do this. I'm gonna do 2. I'll do the first giveaway since Mukti's with us. If you don't mind, Mukti, I'll do her t-shirt. I'll move it down a little bit and do a Mukti as our second. The first one will be a rod session and reading session with a mini session with Tonya at Tarot Vibes. You guys give her a follower and a holler. Thank you, T-Bear, for helping out in the chitty chat today. And then the second one will be a lovely Mukti. If you guys keep donating. We also have a mini written session with Krista. There's a custom reading with me. So please keep those hashtags coming and keep spreading the word. Like if you want to share this video, I'd so appreciate it. There's a lot of great tips and advice here as well. I know we're not doing a reading today, but still, it's a lot of good. So let's go. We'll get the first winner. Okay, this is for a mini reading and rod session with Tonya. Let's see who we get. You guys can see that, right? Okay, cool.
Tonya said, "Ooh, let me win me. I'm going to take me out to eat." I love it.
Monica! Congratulations, Monica. LZ fan 99, aka Monica. Congratulations, girl. You're our first winner. Yes. I'm so excited. So so Monica, you can connect with Tonya. She's in the chat. If y'all are both in there, you can link up, connect with each other. Make sure you give Tonya your info or hit her up. However you guys want to do that, work it out. But Tonya at Tarot Vibes is going to do a little mini reading and such with you. Congratulations. Tanya's a great reader. She's read for me on many occasions, and she's very accurate and wonderful. So thank you. All right. Who wants to win a Mukti? I do.
Thank you for the comments.
I'm going to hashtag on the lip.
I see you, Navy Me.
Also, just to be clear, somebody thought it was tea, but it's not tea. It's a t-shirt. Although I do love tea.
Yeah. It's not tea.
Oh, yeah. We had a look at the t-shirt.
Let's do that again.
Stunning work.
Yeah, so let's do that again real quick before we give it away. Okay, so my cousin up there, Mukti Bird, is an artiste, a real artiste. And
everyone's a real one, I think.
I think so too, but you are very talented.
But girl, like you're actually like you went to school for it and stuff like that, and you do it professionally and stuff like that. So, but no, her work is beautiful, and so she has her actual art on t-shirts. And again, apologies for Bo's fur on this, but
it's wild that you have this one too, Jess, because there's actually like a fire underneath the hands, and that one's called the growth tee because there's like growth coming from, like, it's more about like your inner fire, but it is a pretty interesting like metaphor at the moment, like this kind of growth you have to be
no coincidences.
Love that. And then here's another. We're not doing the sweatshirts, we're giving a t-shirt, but I want to show you this just so you can see. It's all so like appropriate for right now, honestly. This is, I believe this one is Open Path. This is another one of hers. Can you guys see that?
Wow.
I don't know if you can see it very well, but there you go.
That is so magical.
So
yeah, so there's a lot of designs, and then I think whoever the winner is, you'll connect them with me and they can pick which design and size and stuff, and we'll get it to them.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you so much for Jocelyn sharing so many great. If you guys want to support, donations are still open. We probably won't stay on too much longer, but did want to talk through some tools that can help people who are experiencing trauma. But first, before we go, let me do another giveaway real quick. I love doing giveaways. If you guys haven't noticed, I do a lot on my channels because it's so fun. I like giving.
Your enthusiasm is amazing. I love it.
It's like one of my favorite things. I don't know why.
Well, and also like this whole kind of like segment of the giveaway and everything is such a beautiful example of like how we can hold multiple truths and states of being at once, right? Like I always say that to people too, like, yeah, absolutely grieve and allow that to move through you. And if you need to scream into a pillow or sob or whatever, that's fine. But it's also okay to like celebrate life and, you know, celebrate via gratitude, being here and being alive, and to laugh. And some people cope with trauma, you know, via humor and comedy, and none of it's wrong. Let's again go back to not shaming ourselves or anybody for any of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
it can be so beautiful to sit here in community and like lighten the load momentarily.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's see. Let's go one more giveaway. Okay, let me see how it looks on for you guys. Okay, good. Perfect.
Yes, Jocelyn, listen to music or talk to someone. Don't bottle up the emotions. That's so important. Journal. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good one. Julia! Oh my gosh, do you know what's so funny? Is Mukti, Julia has been a fan of yours for a minute from seeing your
Amazing.
shirts on the channel. Like she's so that's so perfect
I'm
because
so
I
happy.
know she already really loves your work. So
That's
yay,
perfect.
Julia.
Oh, Julia.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yay, Julia.
Congratulations.
I can't wait
Look at
to.
she's so happy. That's
Yay.
why I like to do it because it makes people happy. I just like to make people happy. That's all.
Oh, I can't wait to see which one she picks. That's also
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite.
Yeah. It's like yeah, you feel like intuitively guided to certain ones when they speak to you. Because can you talk a little bit actually, Mukti, about as we're moving towards talking more about ways to kind of process heavier emotions and traumatic experiences, like how art has really helped you and how you use your art? Because I noticed that about you, like you create art as you're kind of experiencing different things in your life or having different awakenings. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started for me when I was actually quite young. Like in high school, I felt like I had a lot of things I was feeling, and I didn't really know how to speak about them or work through them. And so I just started painting and drawing, and I found it was actually like a time where I would get really quiet with myself, and it was almost like a form of kind of like meditation. And often this like very raw energy or emotion I was feeling would sort of just get transmuted. And yeah, I kind of feel like it was like almost like this gift given to me where it was just like, wow, this is my way to be with myself and to self-reflect and to contemplate and to allow this to just pass through me. And I feel like over the years, like yeah, I don't know. I even now I've been going through like actually a big transformation in my own life, where like everything also feels like it's just shifting, and I feel like just painting and just like allowing myself to really not try to judge or dissect what's happening, but just like allow space for it. Like I feel art is almost like a therapy for that, in a way, to just allow yourself to feel what it is you're feeling and express it, and be with yourself. And it feels also like a very deeply intuitive thing, like almost like, you know, as kids we also just love to play and to paint and to like, so I think it's also just a form of like innocence. And yeah, all forms I think of creativity can often I think just like spark a lot of joy. And and that's also where it's really come for me. Yeah, a lot of like the designs that I've made, they usually have like a little message in them, like growth or illumination or open path or something that I'm reflecting on. And I like, what I love about it now, sharing them, putting them on t-shirts, is like friends or people that I know that are wearing them are like, I love to wear this because it reminds me, like it gives me courage, or it just helps me to connect more deeply with my heart. And that always makes me like really just happy, because that's kind of where it's coming from for me too. So yeah, I think that like all creativity is a means of inspiring each other, and uplifting each other, and ourselves. And so I think art's just kind of been one of those practices and tools for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to kind of talk about too, because I feel like it's just again been something that came into my life really naturally as like anything that you love, like somehow it just kind of nourishes your spirit. And yeah.
Julia is saying that she lost that art really helped her at times in her life when she really needed it, but she's lost I could use this advice too, but motivation for the last 9 years being Amina's mom. She's a mommy. She's a single mommy. So what advice would both of you, we're all creatives here actually. I'm wondering what advice that you two specifically might have for somebody who has been kind of struggling to find space for it in their life, where they are right now in life.
Well, I have a feeling that you probably have something great to say, but what I just want to say right off the bat is like to Julia is like, you are doing something incredibly creative being a mom. Like you are.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. Like you created
Girl,
life.
you created life. None of us three have created a life. Okay?
It comes from the same energy center, right? It's all sacral chakra, whatever we're creating in the world, whether it's physical life or art or an invention, tackling some new scientific experiment creatively or something, right? It's all coming from the same source.
Yeah. And so to really like, that's such a beautiful gift. And also like, I don't know, like in your own journey of motherhood, I'm sure there's just every day you're kind of having to come up with a lot of creative solutions to things. So just to not underestimate the way your creativity is flowing through you. And at the same time, like, I don't know, maybe with your daughter, there is ways like you can find to like, because maybe you used to paint or draw and you still love that. Like maybe there are moments you could find doing that together. But you are right where you need to be doing exactly what you need to do. And sometimes the creativity just changes its form and to allow yourself that space. But we're proud of you.
Yeah, that's good advice actually too, Mukti. I would suggest that as well. I know for me, like a lot of my creativity came from my mom and her, like for me as a child, her creating with me or creating those moments together. And in encouraging me and engaging me in creative ventures and projects. And my mom was just always like coming up with really fun things for us to do. And I think as a mom, like you can pass that gift on to your child. And I know that's like wanting to have something for yourself, which I want for you too, but finding moments where you can create together, which I know you already do, is another way to kind of find an outlet in this season,
Yeah, I think the other thing is too, like, similarly to Mukti, art was always sort of naturally a refuge for me personally. There's like some viral post circulating online right now in the like somatic community that says like, you've healed when imagination returns. And I know myself and a lot of artists are like, imagination was my refuge at the like worst time, like when I had only begun healing. I don't know that resonates with everyone, but I have also gone through periods in my life where I've just been kind of burnt out and exhausted and haven't had the bandwidth to create as much as I would like to. And so I've given myself permission to take a break, or I've taken the pressure off. And it's like, if I can paint or write or sing a song for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like it doesn't have to be like a whole session. I can tap in that way. And I don't want to project onto your experience at all. There's so much love that comes from parenthood, and there are so many wonderful moments. But I know from working with some of my clients who have young children as well, that it can be really exhausting and you can feel tapped out and burnt out sometimes. And that is also normal and not something that we should be ashamed of admitting. It doesn't mean you love yourself or your child or your family or all of your children any less. You can just embrace the fact that maybe you don't have the bandwidth right now, but it will return. It absolutely will return. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So let's see if we can do, I don't know if we can do another giveaway, but while we're on the topic, what are some other ways that we can share that help people process trauma or just heavier emotions and heavier times? We talked about breath work. I don't know, Krista, if you want to mention some of your experience with that and how that has helped some of your clients.
Yeah, I think so. The way that I work, one of my clients described, I guess, the work that we do together as like I have the ability to see inside people and to merge with their physical bodies and their pain bodies, and to see, you know, essentially like everything that's ever happened to you, good, bad, ugly, with no judgment, and holding it all with love. And the layers that need to be transmuted or alchemized or dissolved out of the physical body will reveal themselves. And so we kind of work, you know, moment to moment and on an individual basis. And I think that's the ideal, you know, absolute best case scenario is finding a practitioner who can meet you where you are in your specific situation and your changing circumstances and can see you clearly. But I also understand that there aren't that many of us, and we can get into all of the sort of equal value exchange and everything down the road, but it's not always accessible to everyone. So it's perfectly all right, and I think really, really positive and really good. And it's how I started on my own journey to try different things out, to maybe try like an art therapy class at a community center or privately, or I patterns that I see are things like traditional talk therapy models can be really helpful. One, for people who are quite isolated. A lot of us do live alone and feel disconnected from communities and just need someone to talk to, or as a sounding board to kind of let it out. Or two, for people who just haven't been given the tools to like name their emotions or recognize what's coming up or what's going on, or who are maybe too overwhelmed to recognize certain patterns that they could be shifting. That can be a really, really great way to approach those symptoms or states of being. For me personally, like I was such a sensitive and attuned child, I found most traditional therapy models to be really frustrating and a little bit useless for my own experience. And it wasn't until I found my healer who works in a similar way to me that things really started to click into place for me and really start to make sense. And it was a combination of being able to like release things energetically and somatically from the physical body, and shift my mindset and shift my frequency and my state of being, and more of the intangible esoteric stuff, because that's what makes me up. That's who I am here on this planet. But again, it's just another pathway that is the one that has served me. And I tend to attract a lot of clients who have similar journeys to me, where they're like, I've tried everything. I was in therapy for years. I tried Reiki. I tried this. I tried that. I was ready to give up. Nothing really worked. So I think that's like maybe my niche, but I'm always like acupuncture never did anything for me. Acupuncture never did anything for my healer, but I have witnessed it profoundly transform people's lives, you know, shift their hormones for the better. Or gosh, I had one family friend who had been like balding for 20 years, and he found an acupuncturist, and in his 60s, his hair grew back. Like I've seen each and every modality do such wonderful, even miraculous things for the people who feel drawn to it, that I never feel like I'm in a position to say this works and this doesn't, or this is the right thing for you and it's not. So, you know, the options that we have there are either learning to fine tune our intuition and letting spirit or whatever it is we believe in guide us to the correct thing, or just being open to trial and error as best we can with the resources that we have. And we're fortunate to live in a world where even people like myself will go live and offer a group session for free once in a while, or there are community resources available. There are people posting like, hey, if you can't work with me, here are free resources online where you can sit with yourself, or you can sit with your own guides, and you can, like some of the people in the comments have said here, you can journal, you can breathe through it. There are always ways that we can support ourselves and also tap into supportive communities now more than ever.
Yeah. It is, I think that's a thing that people, that's why I called my therapist my taropist, because the whole idea and concept behind it was tarot as therapy and using it as a therapeutic tool. But there's a lot of people don't resonate with talk therapy. I found it to be very useful, but I'm kind of like a therapy junkie. Like I like everything. So but there's so many other ways that so many things that you can find therapy in. I mean, taking a hike is therapeutic, like just sitting at the ocean and just like, it's therapeutic. There's just absorbing those negative ions. Like there's so many things that can be sitting. Every morning I go on the patio and have coffee and journal with Mr. Bojangles, and he's become accustomed to it. And if I don't do it, he's like very agitated. And I'm like, you want to go outside and have coffee with mama? And he's like looking at me like, yes, mom, please. So that's therapy. So I just think finding what works for you, but find something,
Yeah. And like knowing yourself and trusting yourself. Like if you're drawn to something and or you find it works for you, who cares what anyone else has to say about it? And if what works shifts, as it probably inevitably will, and it doesn't serve you anymore, and you're being called to try something else, follow that impulse, go down that path. It's, like you were saying about Bojangles and stuff like that too. I always say that to people who say they can't meditate. It's like meditation doesn't just have to be, sitting upright on a bolster, completely still, trying to empty out the mind. First and foremost, we're observing the thoughts anyway, but anytime that we can become more present and more mindful, we can be in a meditative state. We can be dancing or shaking the body or doing the dishes, mindfully with presence, or like you said, going for a walk. I mean, they're all valid.
Speaking of Bo, he tried to come up and then I was like, oh, he heard me call his name. He wants to make an
He's like, I've been summoned.
You want to come here? Come here. Wet paws. He's been on the patio. But there's Mr. Bojangles. There's pet therapy. Animals are therapeutic.
Yeah.
So,
Jess, you've had a journey with him too, because didn't you lose him for a while?
Twice. The first time for about a week, the second time for 2 months. And but yeah, that's an interesting story. I forgot the first time.
I want to hear this, Jess. So part of my practice is I communicate with animals too. And when you said you lost him, he literally was like, I wasn't lost, I was adventuring.
You're right.
He's like, I knew where I was.
He knew where I was. No, that's so funny, Mukti, because so Mukti's living currently on an ashram in Portugal. As she has been for, oh my gosh, how many years? You were in Portugal way before I was, like 10 years, 11 years?
9 years. 9 years.
9 years. Okay. So she had some friends from the ashram who were coming to my island for a little vacation, and happened to be staying in the same parish that I live in, because it's one or that I used to live in. I don't live there anymore, but it has hot springs. It's a very nice place if you just want to have a relaxing, therapeutic little trip. So anyway, the day that I was supposed to meet them at their Airbnb, Bo had disappeared. Well, no, he had already been gone, I think like a day or two prior to, or a few days before that, I forget, because he was gone for a week at that point. And I on my way to them, I saw, like, you guys just saw Bo. He's a tuxedo cat. So on my way to them, I saw a cat. I passed by a cat that had sadly passed on the side of the road. And it was very shocking. I pulled over and I thought it was Bo. And I was so convinced of it that I was sobbing at the side of the road, and a gentleman in a truck pulled over, and he said, and I tried to explain to him what happened. He didn't speak English. He only spoke Portuguese, but he kind of got the gist of it. And he's like, you have to take the cat in a bag. And he gave me a plastic bag and like, go bury it. And he was just like very like matter of fact about it. And I broke down. I was so traumatized. And all I could say was like in Portuguese, like, mio gato, mio gato, mio gato. I was just like, I was just like, so I took this cat back in my car back to where I was living, which I was renting a house, into the backyard, and I literally started digging a hole to bury this cat. I was convinced, and Tonya knows because she was actually on the phone with me the whole time. And so I just had this thought. I was like, wait, before I do this, like, let me check his ear, because Bojangles was initially TNR, a trap spay neuter release. And so he had his ear tipped. And so I was like, let me just make sure and see if I can check this cat's ear. It was so traumatizing. So I'm like, it's nighttime, it's dark. So I'm going, and I had told Mukti's friends, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come because I think I found my cat and it's passed. And I was just like horrible. So I went and took a little peek, and the cat's ears were still fully intact. And I was like, oh my God, this is not my cat. This isn't even Bo. So I'm like, what do I do with this cat? I can't bury like a strange cat in this lady's yard, whose house I'm renting. So then I just found a field to like place him in on my way back to finally then go meet Mukti's friends. And they were the most loving, beautiful community group of folks. And they had like charcuterie and they had wine, and they're just like, oh, they gave me so much love and like hugs and just loved on me. And they were such a blessing. And one of Mukti's friends was like, I really feel like you had to go through that experience so that you could, I'm getting like chills remembering this. She's like, I feel like you had to go through that experience so that you could release him so that he can come back to you, but you had to release him first. And it's so interesting for the season that we're in, because I'm learning so much how to release and let go of literally like everything, right? And I think a lot of us are. And sure enough, literally the very next day, I believe it was, Bo came back. And one of Mukti's friends, the same friend who said that she had done a painting of Mr. Bojangles like dancing. I wish I had it like right here to show you guys, but she's also an artist like Mukti, and it was the sweetest thing. And they had left at the hot springs for me like this picture, and like these little espresso cups that say love on them that I still have, and a little flower in it. It was just like, it was the sweetest gift, and they were just like the most beautiful souls, and I miss them. I want to see them again. But yeah, that was the story of the first time Bo like disappeared. Yeah, it was just crazy. But yeah, I hold on to that. I'll never forget that. Like, you had to release him so that he can come back to you. So yeah. And so yeah, that's the story.
Everything that I have ever like really wanted to see come to fruition in my life, it's been the same story. Like, I've had to finally release it, or be like, I'm okay with that not working out, or with that not coming back to me, in order for it to lock into place.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful lesson, Jess.
Let's see. Jason saying, I had to release so much last year, but it brought in a huge blessing. That's so true. And sometimes it's not the same thing that we're releasing that we get back in kind, but we get back an equal amount of what we need, right? So it's like, yeah. And Jason has learned that through this journey together, right, Jason? And he's finally in this place now where he's able to receive something that his heart's been longing for. So it was so beautiful.
We have maybe me just back a little bit in the chat, sharing some other really great healing modalities, or things that people could explore. If you scroll back a little bit, like EMDR and
Oh yeah, I saw that.
singing and meditation. That was really helpful. And also Aries Man has asked a couple times, Mukti,
Yeah.
about you being in an
Aries Man lives
ashram.
in India. Just so you know, Siva lives in India. Mukti, who also lived in India for a while, by the way, Siva. So she can speak to that question.
Hi,
I'm gonna
Hi, Siva. Yes, no. So I have a spiritual teacher. His name is Muji, and I met him in India, but he lives here in Portugal, and it's his ashram. It's not my ashram. I'm just a student here. And yeah, there's just one. It's called Monte Sahaja, and it's very beautiful. And he had a teacher that was from India that lived in Lucknow. So that's how I ended up here. I was in India and I was there for a few months, and then I heard about here and I came to volunteer, and then I became part of the core team, and I'm just actually now back visiting. So yeah.
And okay, so this will be, I think, our last question, so we can wrap this up. I had promised my moms that we'd be on for 2 hours. If you guys want to still donate, please do. Really, I think for thank you, Jocelyn, so much. I think we're like 4 away from doing a third giveaway, but if we don't hit that, that's okay. This is a new series that we're starting, which is again going back to the roots of My Taropist. I've had like a huge awakening about that in this season. So it's a new series called Tarot for Good. I've already talked to other friends. There's a friend of mine named Jamar Rogers, who is a sound healer and similar gifts as Krista. But he practices different healing modalities, and he's leading currently like sound healing workshops that are virtual. I think it's $20 per session. And he does other, like he does one-on-ones as well. But I think my mods have a link to his Instagram if you guys want to share it. But we've talked about collaborating. I've been putting feelers out. This happened so quickly and was thrown together very quickly. So there's a lot of folks I'd love to partner with and bring on for you guys to support the community. So that we'll do this again another time as well, and also hopefully benefit other causes in the future. But I wanted to talk about, so if we can, as a sort of our last topic, and Krista, we talked about this a little bit about and you kind of touched on it already, sort of the accessibility to some of these, to access some of these tools. And so Newbie Me was saying, wouldn't it be cool if there was a free spiritual fair? I don't know what Enos is. Maybe one of you do. Redondo Orb or other beaches. I'm assuming that's Redondo Beach for meditation, Reiki, EMDR, and then also Newbie Me had said they could have journaling, singing, EMDR, meditation, walking, etc. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the accessibility, and if anyone has any resources that are free or low cost that could benefit the collective in this season? If you want to share that. Anyone also in the chat who wants to share?
Yeah. I mean, do you have something to share? That's always that's a difficult space for me to navigate.
Yeah. I think, well, I can speak to this current situation, which we're here for the LA fires.
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that there are some, like Cat Cafe Lounge, interestingly enough, in Los Angeles, did like a free sound bath with, I think she's called the Sound Fairy. And that was virtual. I know that, I don't know if we want to mention the studio, but there is a breathwork studio I used to have a membership to, or Krista used to practice. They at one time they did have like you can
mention it. I got into some hot water there and they asked me not to mention their name, largely because they said that I signed a non-compete when I had an existing practice long before I ever hosted classes for them, and everyone who came to my classes came from my own client pool and then paid them. And then they found out I was continuing to practice privately. And it was a messy thing. They tried to come after me with a lawsuit for having my own practice when I had brought my clients to their studio. And I don't actually believe I ever signed the non-compete, but yeah, you're welcome. I have no hard feelings there at all. They're a wonderful.
Oh, it's okay. I don't. You don't have to much.
They have some wonderful classes.
It's like, what's unfortunate is I don't know of like one location where you can, like, here, let me see if I can share this. But this was like what Sound Fairy was doing at Cat Cafe Lounge, which I love because it combined like the sound bath with all the kittens roaming around you. And so you're getting like the kitty purrs and also the sound bath. It's hard because I personally, there are some really brilliant people on YouTube, even with platforms on YouTube that I partake of. So I do a lot of stuff on YouTube. I have great like Pilates and yoga instructors that I love on YouTube and like you know. So I think sometimes you have to kind of do your own research, but
I feel like I want to elaborate on why I said it's a difficult space to navigate, to shed a little light on that too. Oh, are we watching this?
Anyways, I just wanted to share that for a second.
Oh,
sorry,
that's
Krista.
amazing. No, please. That looked amazing. I was like ready to watch the whole thing. It's
still kind of like freezing, so I don't want
to. Okay, well, we can all maybe find it after, or maybe you can like share it to your stories again or something if we missed it. I think it's a challenging place to navigate sometimes because as space holders and artists, like I always have such empathy in my heart for people who need to find accessible ways to start out on this path or continue on the path. And then I also have my own experience of being on the other end of that. And I've also seen so many breathwork teachers and yoga teachers and spiritual teachers and yoga studio owners try so hard and so earnestly to keep the cost low so that it is accessible to people, but then they're not able to pay their staff, or they're not able to pay their staff on time. They're not able to meet rent. They're not able to pay people to clean the space because they're not charging enough to cover their overhead and to feed themselves and care for themselves. And that's a very complex and complicated aspect of, the sort of spiritual meeting the like 3D human practical side of things. And I have in my own practice, I mean, I'm 39, and between like 22 and 39, I have completely burnt out to the point where I have been incapacitated. My lab works have I had a doctor say, if I hadn't seen your name on the top of this sheet, I would have assumed it belonged to like an 87-year-old woman when I was 20 something, from making myself available and understanding that people don't always have the resources. And this is what feels particularly overwhelming to me and concerning to me in a situation like this, where so many people have lost so much. And I want to be of service to everyone and as often as possible. And I also am still recovering from round 3 of burnout. And I know that something personally has to change. And I have gone deep into conversation with my own teacher and others who have been through similar situations where there is this overarching spiritual energetic lesson coming through that says one of the laws of the universe is equal value exchange. And we do have to open ourselves up to receiving in proportion to what we are giving. Otherwise, it creates karmic debts and energetic imbalances where both parties become physically ill, or resistance is put in place, and it's difficult for either party to move forward on their path through anything else. So I had left you a message, and it's something that I am looking into. I don't have enough information to put out there, but I know there are people like the spirit guide coach I think she has been evacuated, but her studio was in Highland Park. She has done this historically. I am looking into finding a way to do this where we could potentially create some type of fund or scholarship program where people who are resourced and are perhaps not currently seeking services or have plenty to give could donate, and we could create this kind of fund for people who are not resourced to tap in, and the scholarship would cover the cost and that equal value exchange. I think there are interesting ways to work around this, but it's more complex than I would like it to be in some ways. I wish we could all just give everything all the time and feel as resourced and supported as we deserve to.
Yeah, that's a conversation that comes up a lot in the spiritual community. Because I don't know about you, but I've struggled. And by the way, I think Mukti, I saw that she had frozen, so I think she lost connection.
Okay.
But I personally just, it's hard sometimes because I grew up, because of the kind of spiritual community I grew up in, you just taught to be of service and to give, right?
Right.
And
but it's that you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of guilt that comes through, because you're considering it as ministry, and there's a lot of guilt that comes in from taking, in kind for your services, and to have like a spiritual business that was really like I still sometimes struggle with that mentally, like, oh my gosh, I feel so much guilt for having a spiritual business and making this my business. And, but it's such a ridiculous thought. And I said this another time on the channel, like, just forget the spirituality aspect, but don't we all want to just do what we love? And if you love to be of service, then for a living, then shouldn't you make a living being of service? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I've also seen people make the point that like, this is the paradigm that we're in, as flawed as it may be in many, many ways. But there was a time not too long ago where the spiritual teacher, spiritual leader, healer, shaman, seer in every community, like they were given a home or a property to live in.
Same with artists, right?
Yeah, a lot of artists, right? Like they were supported by the community. They were given a home. People would cook for them, or give offerings from their garden, or whatever, in exchange for access to their gifts. It was just a sort of different model, a more community-centered, community-focused model, and I think a lot of us would be open to that, but that's not, currently the reality we live in. Maybe it will be again sometime soon, but, we do practically have to pay our rent and feed ourselves and take care of ourselves as well. So I've tried, showing up and doing some free live classes similar to the ones I was offering on TikTok from time to time, as I have the resources. And I'm also always like more than happy to, with an individual, if they approach me and it doesn't feel like we're the right fit, or we can't find a way that, to move forward that works for both of us, to take a moment to feel and intuitively, like to tap in and really feel in my gut what might be a better fit for them if they're having difficulty figuring that out for themselves, even if it is like YouTube videos, or, listening to a specific podcast, or if someone has like a, free downloadable workbook or something like that, it could feel really good for them to get started in that way.
Yeah, I would again, there's always junk out there too. So you have to be really discerning.
Yes. Yeah.
but
I think sometimes that's part of the process, right? Like I think sometimes I had to go to the wrong place or wrong practitioner to be set on the path towards what was right for me. And I think sometimes it's part of the process of learning to trust in self, and trust in your own discernment and judgment, and trust in, not giving your power away to someone else. Like I even say to my own clients, like I am that person who can help you while you're sitting alone in the dark to like hold a flashlight up and hold your hand through it. And maybe, you know, gently and slowly at a pace that feels good to me when I feel into your body, begin to look at some of the things you haven't had the strength or capacity to look at on your own, and to help you unpack them. But you are ultimately going to heal yourself. You are ultimately going to liberate yourself. You don't need me to do that with you, right? Like it's so lovely. We do tend to heal a little faster when someone's there to witness our pain, or a little more wholly and completely. And I know even from working with my own healer, it can feel really nice to have that accountability and to have someone hold us through that process and help us to release things. But every single person on this planet has the tools within themselves to move through it.
And you know what?
Well.
I want to also encourage and inspire others to activate their own gifts as healers. Because I was thinking about this, and I'm hopefully starting a blog. I keep saying I'm going to start it, and there's a space for it on my website, but I haven't started yet. But I sort of had this sort of, it's not, I don't want to call it an epiphany. I don't know what you want to call it, but you know how, oh my gosh, and I'm going to be so bad because Krista, you probably know, what's the name of the Japanese pottery that, and people talk about this a lot, that has the cracks in it, and then
why is it escaping me right now? Someone's going to comment before I look it up, but Ikigai,
I think that sounds correct. I don't know how to pronounce it. Somebody in the chat probably knows.
Or is that, what is this? Oh no, that's the word that came to me, but that's the concept of finding like what you love, your purpose, your passion, to create a joyful life. What is it?
Okay.
I know what you're talking about though.
Thank you, Tonya, for the donation. Here we go. Julia is saying kintsugi. Is that how you say it?
I don't know if we might be.
I don't know if we're pronouncing it correctly, but so I just feel like, you know, in a way, like we all are these cracked vessels at some point in our lives, right? And we all have, there's always a crack that somebody has that only you can really fill. You know what I mean? Whatever experience you've been through in your life, that can be inspiring for somebody else. So I'm not articulating as well as I did in my mind when I was thinking on this earlier, but
I think you're doing just fine.
But I really want, especially my spiritual community, because I feel like, especially when you know this, Krista, too, like Krista's been really great about sticking to her, you know, her convictions when it comes to the way she presents herself on social media as a spiritual person. And I found since moving to the YouTube platform, there's a lot of like competitiveness, and like everyone's trying to play with the algorithm and trying to like, you know, to outsmart the algorithm. And consequently in doing so, I feel like a lot of what could be so much more powerful messaging gets diluted, I guess, for lack of another way of saying it. But I know so many people in the community that have gone through a lot. Like, I know my girl Tonya has. I know there's another reader, Crystal, who is a recovering addict, and she's very vocal and speaking about that. And I'm just starting to see her on her platform talk more about that and sharing, you know, inspiring words and trying to encourage others. Like, listen, if I did this, you can do it. You can overcome. You're stronger than you think you are. So it's just like, I feel like we've all been through, like when you go through the fire and you go through the rebuilding process after whatever your respective tower moment is in your life, or multiple tower moments, right?
Some of us have many.
I know you do, boo. But it's like,
and Julia said too, she has beautiful golden cracks all over her. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. But it's like, you then have the blueprint once you've rebuilt that you can share with somebody else on how they can rebuild. And if you're a spiritual person, I would challenge you, like, let your platform be about that. Like, at least part of your mission, at least part of what you're putting out there, let that be the gold that you're using to fill other people's cracks.
I understood. I'm envisioning the vase or the plate, but I think it also goes back to, our first, I think it was our first conversation about doing this here today, where you were like, I don't know, it's a little last minute. Like, do we have enough time to notify people? And I said to Jess, I said, the approach that I always take to posting anything or sharing anything or hosting a class or whatever it is, putting my art out into the world or a performance is who cares about the numbers, right? I think we've, especially on social media, become so obsessed with chasing numbers. And that's also just ego and trying to fill a void. And there are lessons in that too. And I mean, if you see my Insta, it's not huge following, but I had a period in my life, where I did grow it to a certain point, and then I kind of stopped because I was chasing that, and that's okay. It served me at the time. But now my approach is always even if this only reaches one person, but it's meant to reach that one person, I've been of service and I've done my job, and that's more than enough. And I'm not someone who I have reels and TikToks that I've posted that have gotten 7 views after something's gotten 14,000 or whatever. And I know there are people in the spiritual community or just in life who would go and hide that because they don't want people to see that, or videos that haven't gotten any likes or any shares, and they go and hide it, and they might repost it, or they might decide it didn't perform well, so they're not putting it out there. I've gotten to a place where I don't care. It had 7 views, and of those 7 people, 2 watched the whole thing, and one of them took a little nugget out of everything that I said, and it put them on the path, or it changed their perspective, or it opened their heart. I did what I came here to do.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. I think that's a beautiful place to leave us. I want to see if we can do one more giveaway. Let me see.
Someone, I forgot to going back a little bit. Oh my gosh, before the 11/11 donation, that was so sweet. Someone said maybe a concept the scholarship thing, contribution fund, maybe adopt a family. These are there we are, newbie me. These are great ideas. Great ideas that I think many of us should consider looking into. Hey, Bo.
Say hi to everyone. I did want to mention her again because I know I don't now. She has a lot of wisdom. I'm just gonna say that she has a lot of wisdom. I always, with everybody I filter, but I really do respect and admire Imani Cohen, who's also known as the Hood Healer on Instagram. And I know, Krista, I think you follow her as well. But I know that there's something she's going to be starting in February, a service to the community, offering spiritual services to the collective. And I think she's kind of getting some folks together to support that effort. So if you're in the LA area, I don't know if any of it will be virtual. I think it'll be more announced later, again in February. She had mentioned that she understands, as a lot of Angelinas do, that the news cycle will shift and will change, and people will forget about what's going on right now. But the people in LA County definitely will not. People in California will not. And so everyone's rushing with all of the supplies and everything right now, which is beautiful and wonderful, and keep it going. But that's going to need to be an ongoing effort, because it will take a long time.
Yes.
A long time to rebuild. So I think her heart is towards hey, I'm thinking long term. I'm not just thinking right now.
I was going to jump in and say, you said something else about, I think continuing this series as things progress, even just, for your community and for yourself. And I was going to jump in at that time, and then we were drawn to something else. We were swept up in something else.
Listen, two answers with Gemini placements. Okay. And I get a lot of rabbit trails.
And I've got my 12th house sun and Mars. I'm always someone said to me once, and I noticed it in the last video that I posted on my TikTok, it looks like I'm reading energy even as I'm talking. She was no matter what you're saying or what you're doing, even if you're listening to people, it looks like you're going off into the ethers and gathering information and bringing it back in. And I feel like that's a very 12th house thing. But no, it made me think of, people who talk about like going through divorce, or that time like several weeks after a funeral, or a cultural or religious period of grieving or bereavement or something, where the people stop showing up, where at first everyone is bringing casseroles or checking in to see how they're doing, and then there comes a point where it's just you. And I think we would both agree that's also probably part of the tower moment and the evolution and the awakening process. Like, it does sometimes require us to sit in isolation, but it is always also helpful to find a balance of community care and connection. And I think, that ties into some of the conversations we had about some of the nasty comments online, and even just the people who are holding unprocessed pain about other things that have happened, like going to some posts about the LA wildfires and just seeing people just put like Asheville, North Carolina in the comments over and over and over again, being like, why are we not getting attention? Why are we not getting attention? And between us saying like, of course people care. Of course there's more than enough empathy to go around. Yeah. And in this particular situation, like, two of the biggest fires are not out right now. There's a newness to this. There's a lot of media coverage, but as soon as something else major happens, we know practically that their attention is going to go to that. Mm-hmm. And we also happen to live in this sort of entertainment media hub where there are other things that have happened or are happening in other parts of the country or the world, where they maybe have their small local paper available to cover things, but people, journalists, broadcasters, they have to be sent to that place to be on location to cover everything. And this sort of blast of coverage, I think, is a byproduct of the fact that it's like outside our windows. It's down the street from so many of us who work in the industry or have social media platforms, but it will die down. And then the communities will still be rebuilding. I saw someone say they estimate it'll probably take them 3 years to rebuild.
Yeah. What's it's what, like $60 billion of
it was almost about 60 billion and almost 400,000 people who are looking for places. I mean, yesterday I felt like it was like 100 times a minute that I broke down crying, because every time I went down to our lobby to take Mozart outside, there was a new couple or a new family coming into our apartment building asking if we had any vacancies, if they could tour. And there was always one person in each group who was just crying and, who would say, we lost everything. We have nowhere to go. Like, it's going to take a lot of heart, and it's going to take some time. And like you said, the media will move on. There will be, other things that are also worthy and deserving of care and attention that come up, because Earth is a messy place to live.
Yeah. And I think too, so much of like the unhoused people who are affected by this as well. There's a large unhoused population in LA County and in LA City, and even just being out in the elements with the air quality the way it is. I had friends who were saying like they just went outside for a few minutes, come back in coughing up blood, but at least they had an inside to go to, with an air fryer or some, or mask. And people who are just out there having to kind of fend for themselves. And so many people
I see so many videos of people having to like sneak into their former neighborhoods to go and look at their homes, and people are freaking out because they're like, things are still on fire in that area or in those areas, and you don't have a mask on, and you don't have this and this protective gear. And it's also, understanding that they're in shock and they're desperate to see what remains. And a lot of them probably have survivor's guilt, and we won't go deep into the PTSD stuff, because I know you want to wrap up, but that's part of having empathy for what people are going through. Their last thought is, I need to protect myself before I go in here. That's not at the forefront of their minds, and we can get space for that too, and let them do what they feel they need to do.
Yeah. Well, Krista, it's been so lovely having you on.
So lovely to
I
meet
feel
you.
like we just like scratched the surface, but hopefully
know.
this has been like a really beautiful time for the rest of you. This is completely different than anything I've done on the channel before, but if you like this and you want more of this kind of content, which I would love to provide, this is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I wanted Mukti to sing for us, but she disappeared. I really think
maybe she can come back.
Yeah, another time.
Jocelyn also said, I would hope you two collab again. Like, yeah, I would love that. And maybe Mukti can come back and sing and get some new voices in too.
Mm-hmm. It's oops, wrong one. Wow.
You're doing just fine, babe. We're all just stumbling and fumbling through right now.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Thank you, Nixie. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for supporting each other during this time and holding space for each other and having an understanding, because I know my community understands there's enough empathy, like Krista said, to go around. There's no shortage of that. There's no shortage of love. I really want people to please like get out of that lack mindset that there isn't enough. There's enough for all of us.
But understanding too, like we had touched on before, that people who show a lack of empathy right now or are saying unkind things, about people feeling their feelings or processing however they process, we can have empathy and compassion for those people as well, because their comments or their behavior is an indication that they don't have empathy for themselves, that they don't allow themselves to feel, that they're not in a place where they have been able to give themselves grace. And that's where the behavior stems from. And we try not to internalize it, try not to take it personally, take good care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. We were one, okay, right as we head out, we were one donation short of doing one last giveaway. Should we just do it anyway?
I think we should just do it anyway. Yeah,
do it anyway. No rules. I want to thank all of the people who donated again. I'm gonna shout you out real quick. Marita, LZ Fan 99, aka Monica, Jano Jason.
Wow.
Pam Bear, again, thank you so much, boo. Thank you to Tonya. Everybody make a wish right now. 11/11. Make a wish. I know what mine is. And yeah. Oh, I love you guys so much. Thank you to Greg.
Nice
Thank
to
you. Greg, thank you again to Jennifer.
Coyote Bird Tarot, thank you. Sorry, we just had another one pop up.
Did we?
Yeah.
Nixie, you did not need to do all that, girl, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, one more. So we got our final. So, and then let me see if I can log in. I want to give. So thank you, Nixie. And everyone who donated, by the way, again, $10 are up. If you guys did not put your question with your donation, email it to me. Don't put it in the chat because I likely won't see it when I do the live tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be doing all of those mini readings live on the channel at a scheduled time. If you're not able to come, it's okay. I'll timestamp it, but do send your question to hello@mytaropist.com. hello@mytaropist.com. And then that way I'll know what your question is. Thank you again to Jocelyn. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you again, Monica. Some of you donated multiple times, and thank you for that. So Emily, kind. Julia. Yeah, it's so kind. It's so sweet. You guys are this is such a generous and loving community. And I can't wait to pick the families and tell you who we picked. And so I'm so excited for that. Julia, Emily, I think Jason had donated multiple times as well. Thank you guys so much. I will give you guys shout outs as well. Give me a little bit of grace. I'm gonna schedule the live. I'm gonna do the community post, hopefully share some more resources. Anastasia, thank you so much, boo. Oh wait, that was earlier. Sorry, that was another time. Again, Felicia, Monica, Emily, Julia, Jason, thank you all so much. And we'll do one more giveaway. And let's see, for this giveaway, since we didn't get all of them, I don't know, how do you feel, Krista, about a mini written session?
We can do that. I mean, we can also, I'm fine with that, but I'm like, do you want to, whatever remains, do you want to continue giveaways as you continue the series?
Oh yeah, we can do that too.
We can still do that one, but like,
we don't have to. It's up to you.
We don't have to let any of them go. We can. I would assume most people would be okay with having them kind of carry over. But yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, so we'll do this. We'll do Nixie's like, of course I didn't need to. You're so cute. Nixie also at Coyote Bird Tarot is a very gifted reader. So if you guys please give Nixie a follow and a holler. And also my girl Tonya at Tarot Vibes, who's been modding and being so supportive throughout and has also donated. Please give her a follow and a holler. Thank you again to Siva so much. So much. So we'll do this. Like we'll do a if you have the capacity, and you don't have to do it like tomorrow, you know. If it feels okay. And then also I'll give away on this one a custom reading as well. So go ahead and you'll get both. You'll get a custom reading for me, and you'll get a mini written.
See what comes up through two channels.
Yeah. We'll see how much mind melded we are. I know.
We'll see. I will be surprised and not surprised if we give the same reading.
Yeah. You never know. Krista has like done, she has entered into my psyche and like healed me before. So maybe there's residual energy there. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could explain how it works. Yeah. I didn't mention that. I work on my clients remotely. So like I'm in LA and a lot of them are in like New York or Iceland or Cape Town or, you know, like they're all over the place, and like their bodies will tingle and shake, and I'll be experiencing the same sensations, and I can kind of go in and like verbatim explain to them what I'm seeing, like a conversation they had with someone years ago. And I don't fully understand how those of us who are able to do that do it. But yeah, you never know. I might just unconsciously merge with your psyche, and we'll try to give separate readings.
Yeah, you never know.
I promise we won't communicate with one another about it.
No,
you'll have to, whoever
on it.
let us know.
No, I'm sure you do. You know, you kind of do the same. Like I treat it like with the confidentiality, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We definitely won't have a conversation about it. So,
okay, let's see who is the last winner for today. Ready? Some of you guys have popped off, so if you guys want to get in and you haven't yet, I'll give you like 2 seconds. If you want to, it's hashtag LA Strong, hashtag
Julia's
LA
giving
Strong.
us a drum roll.
Yeah. Who's giving the drum roll?
Julia.
Julia. Yeah, Julia she's been with me for a minute, and she's always done drum rolls when I do giveaways, and I love the drum rolls so much. Anyway,
I can hear it. Mind. Yeah.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah. The tiniest pitter patter. Yeah, yay!
Yay, Tonya. Okay, girl.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you, boo.
Amazing.
Tonya, I hope you're still there, boo. You got the gift of a mini written session with Krista and a custom reading with me. Yay, girl, yay.
Yeah.
Are you still with us? Congratulations.
I'm like, are you here, Tonya? Congratulations. I'm looking forward to doing this. That's cool. I'm kind of not surprised, because I do attract a lot of healers and readers in my own practice too. So I'm like, of course it would work out that way. Yeah. She had to bolt for a bit. Okay.
She may have had to. So thank you again.
Let her know. Yeah. You'll let her know.
Yeah, I'll let Tonya know. You
can pass along my email or however she wants to connect with me.
Yes. Oh, there she goes. She
there
goes.
she
When I
is.
went.
Yay! You
I
won written readings or mini readings from both Jess and I. We're both going to read you.
We're both giving you readings. You got 2 readings. You get a reading and another reading. Yay.
I'll make sure you get an email address, or I can put it in the chat or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Tonya, I can send you an email. I can do like a general kind of deep dive and write it out, or leave you some voice notes. Or if you want to send me some questions, I'm open to either. And I'm sure Jess will. You probably know Jess's approach, but I'm sure she'll let you know.
Yeah, we read for each other. BOGO baby. There you go. Congratulations to everybody, and thank you again all for your generosity. Keep your eyes peeled on the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification bell, set it to all, so you know anytime that I might go live or upload a new reading for you. Also, when I post in the community section, which is also where I'll be updating, continuing to share resources as this whole situation unfolds in Los Angeles. Thank you for showing up and showing out for our hometown. We so appreciate all of your love and support, and for being such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful community of such empathetic and loving and kind hearts. And I'm just looking forward to what's to come, honestly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what's to come. I'm remaining hopeful and grateful. And that's the energy I want to keep for this forever, ever, not just for this year.
And like huge shout out and thank you to you, Jess, for building this community and for bringing us in to share in all of this magic here.
Thank you so much, Krista. You guys, please go check out Krista. We've shared links to her website, KristaHovespian.com. Is that correct? I think I got it right.
Well, yeah, that has everything there. Yeah.
And
thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah. And then her Instagram handle, is it still your name also?
It's still my name. I have to double check. I think it is. Yeah. It's Krista Hovespian. Yeah, it is. It's just my full name.
Okay. So, oops. Okay, there we go. I put it in the chat.
Everything's right there. Thank you so much. I'll keep an eye out for you guys.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that's her if you want to go follow her, also on Instagram, and she's also on TikTok too.
I'm on TikTok with just a period separating my first and my last name, but I think I'm the only one in the world with this name. I'm the only one who comes up. So it's a Scandinavian and Armenian combo, a 1-2 punch. So
yeah, if you Google her, like if you Google Jessica Jones, you get Marvel Comics, you get so many things that's not me. But if you Google Krista, you get Krista. It's like it's very
yeah. I think there's a woman named like Christine or Crystal who married into a Hovespian family who comes up now as well, but there's not much on her. So I feel very fortunate to be. My Leo rising loves it.
Oh my god. So funny.
This has been such a pleasure. Blessings for everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Pam.
you guys so much
for everyone here and everyone affected. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Keep sending Garrett love, prayers, and Care Bear stares, as I like to say, to all of the people of LA and to each other. We just love you. Thank you.
And I know we want to wrap up too, but for anyone who does follow along on Instagram who has friends and family here, like I said, I'm very fortunate to be here in Culver City where the air is clear. But I know sometimes it can feel like everything that's coming through social media and the media is like panic button. And while the situation is severe and does need our care and attention, I'm trying to share not only like the good, positive side of Instagram and TikTok, the reels I see, but also like, hey, we've reached this level of containment. The air is clear here. I heard from my neighbors, it's not there, but there's this positive, just to kind of balance things out. So you're always welcome in that space to tap in if you're feeling a little bit frazzled or afraid, just hearing the sort of intense panic side of things.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad, Nixie, that your friends are safe.
Yes. I did see that comment too. Yeah.
And yes, again, thank you again to my cousin Mukti Bird. Please do also give her a follow over there on Instagram. at Mukti Bird. She you can, the t-shirts that we shared, her Muktis, that's like her name but with TEE, it's so cute, I love it, are available for purchase if you want to support her as a creative, as an artist, as a spiritual healer. Please do. And yeah, we just thank you for supporting this community. Thank you for all the love. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye,
Amazing.
Krista.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.